time, Bernardo Oliveira from Brazil in Switzerland, and of course, an Olympian in his own right. And Bernardo, it's going to be a fun day of competition today, isn't it?
Yeah. Hello, Greg. Hello, everyone. Super excited about today. What we've seen so far has been really exciting, really remarkable in Paris 2024. And I'm sure today is going to be another one with very close competition in between these amazing mixed teams.
And back in action for us, the top left-hand part of your screen is Lucy O'Sullivan, who is a compound archer, four-time medalist of World Archery, and of course, a fitness trainer as well. And she'll be keeping score for us. So, Lucy, you're going to be plotting all the arrows today. How you feeling? How's the focus? And how excited are you for archery?
I'm so excited. This is actually my favorite event for compound and recurve archery. The mixed teams is the best event. So yeah, I can't wait to see some really good scores today.
All right, panel, let's talk a little bit about the biggest stories that we've seen so far coming out of these games. I mean, I think one of the largest talking points that we have is the domination of Korea across the board. We saw the women's team a couple of days ago win their 10th in a row since team competition was introduced, as well as the men and their victory. And in the individual matches, what we've seen from Korea is each three of their athletes in the women's side and the men's side have made it to the final 16, as we still are going to have some matches to be shot to decide who's going to be in our men's competition for our coverage later on in the day, which starts tomorrow. But Justin Hewish, let's talk a little bit about your impression of Korea and the training they've done and where they're sitting right now, looking as the favorites for pretty much the entire archery in these games.
Yeah, it's super impressive with how they're shooting right now. Because earlier in the year, there's a lot of doubts, especially with the women's team, on how well they would do. And typically, you don't see all three Koreans get through to this point. You'll see at least one upset during a match like this, and it's really interesting to see. I mean, there could be a full sweep here. That would be kind of crazy to see, but you couldn't put it past them, that's for sure. My head's telling me that we're going to see a lot more Koreans on the top of the podium going forward the next 3 days, but my heart's telling me something else, but we'll have to just see what happens.
And Crispin, let's talk a little bit about who you might see as an upset. Somebody coming into this match today for the mixed team competition. Is there anybody that really stands out in your mind? Any team that stands out that might have the Koreans not in the number one spot, might even eliminate them at this point?
It's so hard to say. The Koreans have been dominating, and I think all of us on social media have seen Kim Woo-jin shooting against the shooting machine in Korea. I mean, who takes a robot to a tiebreak? Only that guy. So I can't even fathom the amount of tens needed to beat the Koreans at this stage. But if anybody could do it, like I think India probably has a good chance at doing that. Mexico's been on fire over here in the Americas, and so has U.S. I mean, it's almost I hate to say it's a coin toss, but at this point, it almost is a coin toss. But at the same time, Korea is so strong that I will not be surprised if they win.
Right-hand part of your screen is going to be the matches that we have coming up. So it's India versus Spain in mixed team. Then we're going to have Korea, Italy, then United States versus Japan, and Mexico versus Germany. So, Bernardo, let's talk a little bit about a couple things. Number one, what is mixed team and how do we get a team for mixed team? And then any stats that you're going to give us about these matches that are coming up.
Absolutely. So mixed team, as it suggests, is a team composed of a man and a woman, a female and male archer. But unlike the full men's team or full women's team that have three archers each, here we're talking only two, so one man, one woman teamed up. So also the number of arrows shot at each set is less, so only archer shoots 2 arrows for a total of 4 per team. That's why we're going to be talking about, a very good set by any team is going to be a 40, so 10s all throughout, 2 by each athlete. And there are some interesting stats coming up, but really what caught my attention about today in the morning, which is the most recent reference that we have about any of these teams that we're about to see, is, of course, Korea is the team to beat. They are the team that went through with the highest average, but actually there was a team that had a higher average than Korea, that was Turkey. and they were eliminated by Japan in a shoot-off. It was a thrilling match. So it just goes to show that with the set system, it's not just about the pure scores, it's about like delivering the results when you have to. So yeah, just goes to show that the team with the highest average isn't even in the last eight. That was Turkey, but among the surviving teams, Korea is the one with the highest average, and they are the ones to beat.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on that. But these games have so many stories, so many athletes in archery, and we're lucky enough to be joined now by one of those athletes. Maria Horchkova is joining us right now. Maria, what a games we have had. You've had quite the story from literally before archery started, the beginning of the games. Tell us about your experience.
Hi everyone, thank you that I can join. Well, it is tough here. Everything in Paris, like everyone is prepared a lot. Everyone wants to show the best of itself. Well, my experience is I very much enjoyed the venue, but I struggled with a bit by mental game. That's all I can say.
And that's a big part of it. How was the opening ceremonies for you?
Well, incredible. It was my dream a bit to hold the flag of Czech Republic, and the athletes were voting for me, as well as our judo legend Lukáš Krpálek. Well, it was amazing to be there standing in front of the Czech athletes. Also, this is a huge step for Czech archery because I would say the first one who achieved a medal from a World Championship, like the gold one, and first one who's competing at the second Olympic Games. So it's a huge thing for Czechia.
Well, that's great. Congratulations. We know that you're going to be an inspiration for the next generation of young archers that are coming through. So when you find yourself back home, what do you have coming up, and what is your involvement with archery in Czech look like for you?
Well, we have in Czech an Olympic park that everyone can try a sport, with which is here at the Olympics. Well, I will rest. I will participate there in the park and will show others archery. I have huge posters there. It's full of me. It's strange a bit, but it's so nice that people know about archery more. Maybe we will have more interested people, that we can have more archers, little archers, that they can grow, and maybe one day they will also at the Olympics.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your new superstar status in your country back home. So congratulations on the great games, and really congratulations on being able to carry the flag in the opening ceremonies. Awesome stuff.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Ciao, ciao.
All right, you too. All right, bow. See you, bye. Well, that was quite a treat. Obviously, there have been quite a few. If you watch World Archery's Instagram feed, there's been some stories for the opening ceremonies, the amount of archers that were actually carrying the flag for their country. So quite a big bump too in the arm for archery. Well, all right, panel. So let's talk about some predictions for today. India, Spain, Korea, Italy, U.S., Japan, Mexico, Germany. Does anybody want to take a stab possibly at who they think is going to be on the podium with these remaining matches that we have? Justin, you're up.
Oh man, well, I gotta stick with my prediction, in Korea gonna be winning this one, but I would really like to see USA top them in the gold medal match. But if you had to hold a gun to my head, I would say it's gonna be Korea, USA, and then India taking the bronze.
Crispin?
Much the same. I would say that Korea is definitely very strong at these games, so they're going to be on the podium as well. I saw a quote from Brady from the USA saying that they're just getting started. So I think that he's going to be on a little bit of a rampage, trying to do something at his fifth Olympics. So can imagine that USA is going to be on the podium as well. And India always produces a strong set of archers as well. So I'm going to support what Justin said as well and say Korea, USA, India.
Lucy, what do you think?
Well, obviously, so I'm from Great Britain. I'm gonna have to throw in a European country there somewhere. I feel like the Europeans have been doing so well. Spain's had a great team this year at the World Cups. Obviously, Korea is the favourites, but anyone can get through. And as you were saying, if you get like 1 point more, you win that set. I don't know. Anything can happen. I would like to see a European team on the podium, though.
All right, Bernardo, this is my prediction: Mexico, Italy, Spain. What do you think about that selection? I'm just going just out of the box. Am I psychic or what?
Wow, that's going to be wild. If there is any betting in archery, then if you bet on that and it happens, I think you're going to make some serious money.
Yeah, that would be that would be a $1 bet, and I'd turn it into about $200 US. Yeah, for sure.
or
What
more,
are you
or
thinking
more.
then, prediction wise? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to differ a little bit, and it's good that I'm not American saying this, so no one's going to say I'm biased, but I'd say USA beating Korea in the gold medal final. It would be epic to see Brady and KZ winning gold, defeating Korea. And I would love to see India win their first ever Olympic medal in archery, but just to then be on Lucy's side, then Germany for bronze. So USA, Korea, Germany.
Wow. All right. Well, guess what? We're getting ready for our first mixed team final match, not the final match, quarterfinal match of the day. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you get in the comment section if you have any questions for our panel, any comments as the athletes are coming out into the field to play. If you want to watch the actual games that are happening, then check your local listings and find out where you can get archery, because what a lot of people have been doing is putting us on a second screen device. You might be watching this on your television, and then we're on an iPad or on your phone or vice versa or whatever. So make sure that you hang with us. We're going to bring you all this extra commentary. Lucy's going to be plotting arrows, so you're going to have a nice intimate look into where those arrows are landing and be able to keep score. And then obviously expert commentating from Justin and Crispin about their experiences, Bernardo as well, giving us some statistics. So onto the field of play is the team from India. And boy, this is a very talented team, and they're young, and experience is growing, and they really could come up with anything. So, Justin, when you're stepping out onto the stage like we are, very unique experience here at these games, because normally in World Cups, you have people in elimination matches that are just going to all shoot together until you get to really like the final four. But in this case, these archers have been shooting center stage where they're going to be competing from all week long. Does that take any of the pressure off these athletes, do you think, because they've been in this venue many times now?
I definitely think so, for sure. That's why the way they do the team round before the individual is a little bit different than they did '96. We did the team round afterwards, so we were kind of already used to the venue and got rid of kind of the initial nerves and stuff. So with the mixed team, being that these guys have been on this platform 2 times now, 2 or 3 times at least, I definitely think they are used to it, used to the conditions, and ready to give their best performance.
Now, Crispin, you've been watching some of these games. I know you've been traveling about. We can see that you've been spending a lot of time outdoors with that amazing tan that you have going on right there, the sunglass tan. Um, but have you had experiences in your 4 Olympic appearances? Have you had experiences like this with the stands being as big as they are and the crowds being as large as they are? And we expect that the stands are just going to keep filling up and filling up and filling up. Like, what has your experiences been like looking at the stages that we have here?
This stage that we've got here is simply amazing. I've had both experiences. I've actually had all 3 experiences where I've had an empty stage or empty stadium during COVID. I've had a completely packed stadium when I was in London. And I've also had a medium stadium when I was in an actual secondary stadium in Beijing. But when you step onto that stage, it's basically like, okay, you just got to acknowledge that there is a bunch of people watching you, but you have a job to do, and you just got to send arrows downrange and hit some tens.
Yeah, and there was the first 10 of the match, it looked like. Lucy, you think? 10-9 liner going with the
Yeah,
10?
it was definitely a 10. Yeah, for sure, that was a 10.
All right, so for India, 9-10 on the first 2 arrows. Then we switch over to Spain. And a 9 right.
Close.
The other thing I'm looking for right now too is just want to check the wind conditions. I know I was looking at the forecast for Paris and the current weather, and right now it just looks outstanding to shoot archery. It's been really hot. I had a chance to talk to Vanessa as a 10 comes in for Spain. I had a chance to talk to Vanessa Lee, who I'm sure will join us once or twice, maybe during this broadcast. But by and large, the week leading up to this has been extremely hot. It's taken a lot out of the athletes shooting in this sunshine. But today seems the temperatures are rising, but it's pretty mild. Wind doesn't look to be a factor right now on the shooting line, though.
No, if I saw the numbers, it doesn't look like it's something that would be affecting the archers, and it's not like one telltale sign is if you look at the archer's hair, and you could see like a ponytail flopping in the wind, you know that that's got some good wind down at the shooting line. But these venues actually pose some interesting scenarios, because I remember some venues you would have 2 flags on the field, and one would be pointing this way and the other one would be pointing the opposite direction, just because of the way the wind comes into the venue. So if you have no wind, I think that's a little bit nicer than having a confusing wind.
Although the Spanish archer seems to have, he's just adjusted his sight. All their arrows seem to have gone a little bit high and right, so I don't know if maybe it's swirling in the venue.
Well, it could
Yeah,
be
it's hard to
that, or it
tell
could be
without.
just yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, you talk about like where they were practicing in the staging area and the adjustments that need to be made. I mean, that definitely happens. Yeah, you can see the flags and the footage that we're watching, which is looking at the athletes in between ends when they're going to go down and score those arrows and then retrieve those arrows. Flags are gently moving. We know that from what we've heard during the week that there is a swirling effect inside that stadium, as you would expect because of the grandstands. And there's the lights. I always find that fascinating that the lights are illuminated during the middle of the day in the stadium. Still haven't found out why exactly.
So it looks like Team India.
All right, so
is
into our
taking
second
first
end of
set.
competition. So when it comes to mixed team, I'm curious to find out, Crispin, you've had experience in mixed team over the years?
Yeah, once or
Justin,
twice.
were they shooting? Were they shooting mixed team when you were in the Olympics in '96?
No, Tokyo 2020 was the inaugural mixed team round, so it's been around since I returned back to archery, and it's definitely pretty cool that they got that done. It's something that we never even thought of, and I think Juan Carlos or someone had a lot to do with that in the early 2000s with getting this going. And it's really cool. There's another medal to be had. I'm kind of jealous.
It is another medal to be had, and of course, when it comes to Olympic recurve, it's all the same distance, same size target, 70 meters or 77 yards, and you're talking about 122 centimeter target face with the 10 ring, size of like a grapefruit. So conditions are the same for everyone. Why not go ahead and pair them up and get another medal since you have the athletes all sitting there? And of course, let's talk about scoring system. Justin, what type of scoring system are we in for those people that are new to archery watching us on YouTube?
Well, in the recurve archery, we do set play. Set play involves, in this particular case with mixed team, each of the archers, the male and the female, will each shoot 2 arrows each for a total of 40 points against their opponent. Whoever has the most points after those 4 arrows between the 2 teams will win the 2 set points for that particular end. If they tie, they will share the set points. And in mixed team, it's the first team to 5 set points that wins the match.
And if you're looking at the graphic on the feed that you see, you can see that what they'll tell you is from the feed is that it's a set number 2, but also understand that for those of us that participate in archery on the regular, each time you have a set of arrows in each different game that we play, and then you have a set of arrows, then you stop and you score. That's called an end or a set. We generally refer to it as an end, but here in the games they're calling it a set. So we're in set or end number 2. And Spain gets finished, and 2 9s and 2 10s will score them 38 out of what Justin was talking about, that possible 40. And keep in mind, too, there is a countdown clock that also puts pressures on archers.
And one thing I'll
That
add
was
is
a
if they
close
end up
one.
having tie, if they're tied with 4 sets each, we will go to a 1 arrow shoot off close to the center.
And another 10.
Ooh.
So for India, Ankita Bakat, she was able to get off her 9. She had basically what it looks like Bernardo so far, that she's got 3 9s and a 10, I think. For Bakat from India.
Bakat, correct. And for her teammate, it's even better. 3 10s and 1 9 the other way around, which is, yeah, blistering start by Team India.
Now, Crispin, I'm curious, having participated in this type of round, you know, from the way the Canadian system is, how often would you get to practice with your mixed team partner? Because the way that the person who makes the mixed team on the men's side and the women's time side is different for each event. So how would you practice that? Was it just a week before or at the event? Like, how would you get that done?
Well, it depends on who the pairing is going to be. If they live in the same city, then it's a lot easier to practice that. And obviously, you should have been practicing it a lot before. If you happen to qualify in a spot where the male and the female are both from different parts of the country, then you would be practicing it a lot at the event. If it was already planned that you were going to be shooting with somebody who's not from your area, then some plans would have been made prior to going to the games or to the event to get some practice in with your teammate. But generally, we try to make it so that we have a standard set of procedures to follow, so that each archer knows which way they rotate off the line, and whether you're right-handed or left-handed, it's always going to be the same type of rotation, so that there's no confusion and we could just slot somebody in.
I'm curious, Crispin, because you're Canadian, and there's really 2 main languages that are spoken in Canada. Have you ever been in a situation when you're shooting with a French Canadian who doesn't speak good English, and has there ever been a communication barrier, you know, in that instance, if there's been that?
Not necessarily. We all learn the most basic amount of the other language to be able to get by. So if I've had to score in French before, it's not that hard of a flip to do. It takes me a while, like just like an end or two, just to like get it to come out smoothly. But then, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of European people listening to this going, "Wow, that Canadian can only speak one language. What a total noob," right? So I know that a lot of Europeans can speak like 3 or 4 languages, so it's just like Bernardo here, for example. You're like first language is Portuguese, and then now you're just doing this whole broadcast in English, right? It just takes a little bit of time to get back into that rhythm, and then
Amazing.
you're good to go.
Yeah, and Canada is not unique in terms of one country that speaks multiple languages for sure, but it was just one of those things that I thought about. Ooh, and it looks like that would be our first 8 of the match, I believe. Lucy,
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First 8.
Correct.
They started off so strong as well with the 2 10s. I thought my European country might get through. Or shaky
And
finish.
a 9, so that's kind of a critical score. You would hope that, you know, for anything, you come out of that one with a 38 with a 10 on the back end, but the door is not closed. I mean, it's only 1 point really if you look at the way we score in the second half for India. Ooh, another 8.
Another
a little
8.
high. Yeah, we could go 3-3
Yeah.
in this one. Well, we are going to go 3-3. There's not enough points left on the board.
Yeah, India needed 2 10s in their last 2 arrows to close out the match, and I think they might have been feeling the pressure a bit or got a little anxious, but there's another set to be had.
Bernardo, have you been able to shoot much of these types of rounds as well in the mixed team rounds?
Yeah, with the national team, a couple of times, not many, because ever since a guy that is known as Marcus Dalmeida came to the team,
Oh, you
yeah,
heard of
after
him?
he
Yeah,
stepped
a
up,
little bit.
yeah, didn't get many opportunities to be the top scorer Brazilian in the qualification round, and therefore shoot the mixed team. This is, by the way, another information for that might be interesting for the people who are watching, like, because there are countries that have 3 men, 3 women in the games, and then who do you pick? Which man and which woman is going to be shooting the mixed team? And most times it's the top scoring man with the top scoring woman. A couple of teams did it differently. For example, France, they picked Lisa Babylon, who was the third in the French women in the qualification. But just to give some context. But yeah, I did shoot a couple of times with the national team and quite a lot in national level.
How do you deal with just being a one-on-one situation, just 2 teammates? If your teammate drops a point or whatever, how would you generally be able to talk and encourage your teammate to stay in the game? Or would you rely more on the coach in the coach's box to be able to get that done for you?
I guess both. The whole team coach and both athletes need to have a good dynamic, but it really depends from person to person. But I guess what's most important is just to be positive at all moments. It's never over until it's over.
I think these mixed team rounds are more fun because it's not often that you get to shoot with someone of the opposite sex. So when you get this opportunity, I find it's just more fun because generally the guys score higher. So as a female, you kind of want to prove that you can shoot as good as them. And yeah, I don't know. I really like the mixed teams. I think they're an excellent addition to archery. It's
Actually,
been
you
so
bring
good
that
that
up.
it's an extra
Yeah, you
medal.
bring that up, Lucy. I think part of why I got so excited about these games early on in the qualification rounds was that the highest scoring athletes on the field were the women. They
Yeah.
outscored in terms of the top score. They outscored the men, and I thought obviously part of it was the conditions. Like the wind picked up in the afternoon during the qualification for the men, and wind in archery can be extremely tricky, especially when you talk about Olympic recurve and the angle of which you have to arc the arrow to get to a 70-meter target and the amount of time it's in the air and all the factors that go into even shooting an accurate shot. But that's been quite exciting to see that the level that Korea has been able to bring, to the table. And that's also part of like how their training works in Korea that we learned earlier on in the week. The fact that their athletes live at the training center. And so they shoot from 9 in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, 6 days a week. They can do anything with training. They do team training. They do mixed team training. They do individual training. And so some of these teams that are a little bit more scattered, like Crispin was talking about in Canada, if you live in the same town with someone you could shoot. Justin, as well that our athletes used to be in one location, Chula Vista, but now we're scattered throughout. You have Brady Ellison, who lives in Montana. You have Casey Koffold from the United States, who lives in Pennsylvania. And Catalina G. Noriega is, in Arizona.
Sorry.
And, so it's spread out all over the place.
Just to say, Spain needed 2 10s to have stayed in the game then. And unfortunately, they didn't. Sorry, just to interrupt you there.
No, it's fine. And, that's the one thing, though. You see smiles on the faces after that match. And I think kind of to your point, Lucy, is the fact that, that of the rounds, yeah, there's medal on the line, there's advancing, there's all that stuff. But of the matches, I think this becomes the one that's more fun than anything else.
I'll also chime in on that one. There's also funding that comes into play here. So once athletes are out of medal contention or whatnot, or they know that they're past a certain point, sometimes the funding bodies in their countries say, okay, you need to place in the top X number of placings in order to get funding for the next 4 years. So some athletes, even though they might not have the most, like obviously every athlete wants to get that medal, but if you don't have the best medal prospects, it's like, okay, we got to do this so that we can get some more funding for the next time around, and then we can go to all of these competitions that are outside of our country, or we can get this amount of support with like nutritionists or like psychologists or whatnot, right? So um, I think everybody's got something to fight for here if it's not just a medal.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And the other thing too is we know that 4 years down the road, these countries are hopefully coming back. Meaning you got to earn your slots to get to these games, but nonetheless, a country like Korea, I guarantee you, has already looked 4 years down the road, if not even more, to the LA Olympics that are coming up. All right, Bernardo, give us some stats on that match. So we obviously know that India will advance on a 5-3 victory, but what else you got for us?
Yeah, and we might be seeing history in the making here because, as I said before, India is yet to win their first ever Olympic medal, and now they are one step closer to that. They just need to win one more match, but they've got two ahead of them. So if they win semifinal, then they're going for gold or silver. If they lose a semifinal, they still have a chance to get bronze. But interesting that Lucy was talking about often, or actually I'd have to look up all the stats to see whether in most cases men outscored the women in the mixed team, but in this match this was the case. Both men, Pablo Acha in Spain, and or no, actually I got this wrong. Pablo Acha shot worse than Elia Canales. Elia Canales had a higher average than him, but Dheeraj Bomadevara from India, he was the guy. He really made a difference, shooting 8 arrows, only 2 9s, like really impressive, 6 10s. He is one of the big names in these games, and he was eliminated by Eric Peters, if I can remember, individually in what was a cracking match. Is that so, Crispin?
Yeah, they he was eliminated in the shoot off. It was like a 1 centimeter difference, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
he's
was a
such a good
super
archer.
match. Yeah. And now he and Ankita Bakat closer to an Olympic medal.
All right, so the athletes for the next match have already been introduced, and the crowd is cheering. But we're talking about two massive powerhouses in Korea. If you're Italy right now, Justin Hewish, are a little bit nervous? Because we talked about the last time we were on the air on Monday, we talked about that a team, a country, or an archer's reputation can play a factor in matches. So you're Italy going up against Korea. You're going up against the two top qualifiers. What are you thinking as Italy?
Yeah, you just got to stay in your lane, shoot your arrows. The match before this, the Italian archers did pretty good, especially the female. She was just pounding the 10 ring. So she just got to keep doing more of what she did earlier, and it'll take care of itself. Just hopefully the first set, you want to try to get those set points and apply pressure on Korea. If you can do that, then you give yourself a fighting chance for sure.
All these guys have been a little bit internet famous this week. We've had the bee that showed up on the bow, and obviously Nesp is being that everyone thinks that he looks like Eminem this week, so he's become a little bit
Yeah, that's
internet
pretty funny.
famous.
I'm just saying that meme came across my, someone from outside the archery industry on the motorcycle racing side of things, which is what I do as well, sent me that meme, and then I sent it to Vanessa, and then about 5 hours later that showed up on World Archery's feed, and I started giggling. It's pretty funny. All right, so a 9 out of the box for Korea. The Scout arrow launches, and then another 9. Look, we all know that Korea doesn't give you a lot of points. So if you're the Italian Eminem, then you're gonna want to jump on this one.
Oh, you have to get a 10.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too is that we saw like Korea had a big scare from Chinese Taipei. Chinese Taipei nearly knocked them out of the tournament this match before. So knowing the training of the Koreans and how hard they work and how often they work, I'm sure it's not really a massive carryover, but you could see that in the match before this quarterfinal match, that Korea was a little bit vulnerable. And at this point, unfortunately for Italy, they didn't jump on the opportunity given to them. But oftentimes what we find when you get to these quarterfinal matches that these first two are whoa. Okay, that was an 8. That's why we're doing that. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're actually don't have the opportunity to see what we're looking at, Korea opens up with 9-9 and then 8 for Lim Shi-yong. And now Kim Woo-jin lines up and he shoots an 8. So in mixed team competition, Korea opens up the quarterfinal with a 34 out of 40. I mean, if Italy right now can just keep them in the gold, they're going to walk away with a 2-0 lead in the quarterfinal. First arrow flies for Italy, and it's a 10. Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, Lucy, maybe your European cheering was in the wrong match.
And another 10.
Wow, 38.
Hey, lucky this isn't cumulative scoring at this point. All I'm saying, you know what I mean? Set point score system, whatever. Okay.
Wow.
So Nespoli, the Italian M&M, bringing it home with a 10.
He only had one shot.
Oh, boom. Hey now. Look at Lucy with the 10-year-old pop culture reference.
Oh,
Justin's like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, come on.
I think that comment
just been
right there
busy
says
or-
it all. Yeah, go ahead, Justin. You know what we're talking about?
No, I was just sitting here watching the Korean coach keep telling them to just calm down. He keeps going, calm down, doing this to him. He doesn't want this to slip away.
All right. Good luck to all the archers. A little bit more to the Italians. I can see where. I mean, I think we all look. You know, if you're a commentator and you're commentating these games, the idea as a professional commentator is you're supposed to set it aside. This is a watch party, man. This is YouTube watch party Archery Plus. I'm representing. You know, I'm definitely representing. And for the United States in archery, our opportunities to cheer for athletes is dwindling by the minute. Okay, so the coaching maybe helped a little bit. Starting off Korea with a 10.
Come back
Now
with a
this legend.
vengeance.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah, 10-10.
Nice.
So Kim Woo-jin's draw on that one looked a little bit more aggressive than his first set. So maybe he just had to get the nerves out of the way and just go for it.
Nespoli now back to full draw. And he launches it in the X ring, the 10 ring as well. Rebel
I love
Yahtzee
that they
now
have their
lines up.
they have their heart rates.
Yeah,
And,
they've been using it a
at
lot
the
more
moment it's
over the
like
course of a couple
90.
days. Mm-hmm.
Another 10.
And a 10.
She doesn't look happy either. That's really funny. Came off the line kind of like a type look on her face, but take the 10s when you can.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a compound archery and you're not shooting X's, you know, you get upset. I get that.
Oh, what are we saying that is, guys? I can't
That's
tell.
a 9.
see
I
it.
think
Are you
it's
saying
a
a
9
9?
high.
Might have been a 9.
It's
Just
hard
out.
in the shadow.
Okay.
Calling
Yeah.
it a 9 on the screen.
We'll drop it in. His heart rate's so low. It's only like 85.
Mm-hmm.
X.
It's just like another day for him. You know, at the Olympics.
Yeah. Just another Olympics. What's Kim Woo-jin? Is
another
he
one.
in
It's up from what
fourth? Fourth or
in
fifth?
Tokyo. His heart rate was even lower.
Wow.
Well, I think it's because he's actually shooting with a shoulder injury this
Oh.
Olympics. So he might be a little bit more anxious about that. But I did hear that he's been fighting through a little bit of a. I'm not sure which shoulder. I'm not sure what the shoulder injury is, but I've heard shoulder injury for Kim Woo-jin.
What are we saying? Is that a 10, a 9?
I think it's a 9.
I'd call it a 9, yeah.
Yeah, they're
9
calling it a
high?
9 here.
Okay.
You kind of feel like a bit of a heartbreak there for Italy because you know what Korea is capable of.
Yeah.
There's no doubt Korea can still win. I mean, the mental toughness is there. But the point is, if I think if you look at the comment down below, a lot of the point, I think, Justin, you'll agree with this as well, is like you've got to come out of the gate and you've got to at least set the tone that you're here to compete against Korea, that they're not going to steamroll you. And going 2-0 is the best opportunity you can possibly get, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to, show your own dominance over them right away, or at least that you're equals to them. If you get up there and don't perform well the first end or set, it's just usually game over with them. They just see blood in the water and they go for it.
Of course, Justin joining us from California in the United States, where it's not even 6 o'clock in the morning yet. We appreciate you getting up early and watching archery with us, Justin.
I would have been up
After
anyways.
the last time.
Definitely. I feel a lot better than I did. Although I've been watching
Justin.
Olympics every single morning around 2 o'clock in the morning, so I haven't been getting as much sleep as I should be because I've basically been on vacation all week watching all these matches.
Nobody else knows you're on vacation but you?
Exactly. And the thing is, I can't watch it later in the day because people start texting me like 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh, did you see that Hall and Hall match? Did you see this match? And they're all spoiler alerting me, so I have to get up and watch it live in order to be able to stay up on all the text messages I've been getting.
So Korea opens 9-10. If Italy can jump on it like they did the last end and go 10-10 here, they'd have a point lead. We're starting to see a little bit more of a breeze as Nespoli sends it in a 9-ring high left.
I was going to comment on the wind. Saw a shot of the stands, and some of the flags were like right out to the side, not even just drooping down. They were there, and there was a shot of Kim Woo-jin at full draw, and his hair was moving while he was at full draw, and that's usually a telltale sign that there's some conditions starting to form on the field of play.
We saw a little confidence click from the Italian archer. Right, low 9. Kim Woo-jin chilling.
75 beats per minute. Jesus.
And he goes up to 78 and he shoots a 10. Yeah.
I
So
was
do you guys
practicing
know
the
what
other
the-
day, and mine was
Okay.
90. And I'm not at the Olympics. Like, how are these guys doing this?
Well, she was at 105 and hitting X's, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
So Lucy, your 90 is comparatively lower, and so you should
Oh,
still
good.
be fine.
All
I
right,
have
10
no
here,
pressure,
though.
though.
Going to tie the set. We're going to go, if we go a 10 here, we're going to go 3-3.
Move the 10.
Wow,
3
that's
seconds.
a lot
2
of movement.
seconds. 1 second. 1 second.
Long hold, a lot of movement. Yeah, you can see him
Yeah,
in the
he's
feed we're looking
showing
at, right?
Yeah, which means the wind has picked up. If Nespoli is showing like this figure 8 aiming pattern, then he's probably saying that there's wind picking up in the venue.
Any stats you want to jump in on, Bernardo, or you want to wait for a little longer for more arrows to be shot?
No. Well, interestingly, this is a rematch of the semifinal of the World Championships last year, and already Italy are doing better than that occasion. That was a 6-0, pretty straightforward victory for Korea, even though now Italy find themselves in the back foot. We were saying before that you have to grab the opportunities when Korea presents them to you. And in the team matches, we've seen many teams that did not do that, but Italy, hats off to them. They grabbed the first set points in the very first set, so they're still alive in this match. Had they not done that, then it would be already game over for them. So now all that matters is winning this fourth set to have our first shoot-off of the session.
I'd
If
love
only
to see a
Korea
shoot
were
off
not
right now.
used to pressure. If only Korea were not used to pressure. It's an interesting comment. I mean, the one thing that I know from when we had So Chae-wan, who was a guest on our first coverage day last Sunday, is that the good thing about Korea is they try to simulate pressure constantly in practice. Right out of the gate, Italy starts off with a solid 10.
But how do you create this kind of pressure? So, like, obviously, compounds we can go to world champs and stuff, but I mean, you guys are in the Olympics. I can't imagine what that feels like. My question is, how do you recreate that pressure?
Low 8.
It's not something you
I
can
think
really
Korea is
recreate.
also-
I mean,
Go ahead, Justin. Yeah.
go for it, Crispin. No, I was just saying that the Olympic pressure is not something that you can recreate. I think some of these athletes that are returning to the Olympics for their second, third, fourth, and fifth time, that's pretty much the only way. You know, it's one of those things, especially as you march along towards the gold medal. The matches become increasingly harder and harder and more pressure. You just gotta, just think about your upper body and just shoot the shot like you always do, and just hopefully it goes your way.
The Korean coach once again telling his athletes to relax even after they come out of the gate swinging with 20 out of 20. I mean, you got to think the 2-10s here for Italy just to stay alive, and the first one lands. And now Nespli's heart rate's up a little bit more than we've seen. He understands what's on the line right now.
3 seconds, 2 seconds.
Oh!
I think that might have caught
Okay.
the line. It's a low 10.
Yeah,
You think?
I think
as
so,
well.
too.
Move it down?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a
low,
10.
low
yeah.
10. Yeah. All right.
But
So
also, he's holding
2
60
9s
pounds
here.
under that pressure. It's pretty high.
So 2 9s here, and Korea's got it. But
They've
that's
won.
it. Yeah. That 10 right there. So what do we? An 8 would tie.
Unless there's
and
an
that would
8.
give Korea the win.
But 8 still wins.
Yeah, 8 ties in that split set, so Korea wins.
Oh,
10.
nice.
All right, zero
That's
question
Korea
about that.
slamming the door.
Yep. And the fake crowd goes wild.
All of a
I
sudden,
actually thought that was
everyone-
real audio coming through.
No, there's no real audio. We're not allowed to show any video, any audio from the venue. That is our stuff. Like we got applause. I mean, yeah, there you go. We got applause, maybe. We got all kinds of sound effects that our producers sitting in Scotland are just dying. They're dying to just hit the button. Well, listen, Italy came out swinging. All right, let's talk about something, though. One of the things that we saw from Nespoli is after his shot, he was kind of moving his hand around. You know, in some sports, we call it shadow shooting. This is a really important question, and I'm going to start with you, Justin, first. When you're not on the line, you're at dinner during an archery tournament. You were just in Ohio in the United States shooting last weekend. Is there shadow shooting allowed when people are discussing their day? Do you allow your friends to air draw back and to show that stuff, or are they the ones that have to buy the food or buy the beer?
It just depends. I guess if they're explaining something, it's sometimes better to use your hands when you're explaining. So, we give them a pass. But, yeah, air shooting and air guitar aren't usually allowed in conversation.
Crispin, weigh in on that one.
Yeah, I think what Justin is saying is like sometimes it's just easier for an archer to say like, hey, my sight was right here, but I was like, aiming here, but the arrows were hitting over here, so I'd aim a little bit more over this way, and they were still hitting over here, but I aimed more this. So it's like it's almost like we all just become like, I don't know, speaking sign language at this point, because it's just easy for us to visualize what's going on, and I think it helps us tell the story.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
never forced a friend to buy me a drink if they've air shot, but I think you've just put some ideas in my head. So thank you, Greg.
Boy, well, I'm saying apparently because this is the way it's been from my experience on the compound side of things. Okay, so it's like that stuff's not allowed. You can talk about golf at dinner, but archery and start. Bernardo, you ever any of those rules with your friends? Too much archery is too much, which apparently not in recurve.
Honestly, I'm a little bit shocked with this because yeah, never had any experience like this. I guess with my archery friends, I guess we try to not talk about archery, but we just can't. So yeah, I guess we don't
Lucy,
get
I know
tired
you
of
know
it
the
actually,
rules.
because if we
Lucy
did,
knows the rules. We've been to dinner with a bunch of people in Vegas. There's no
yeah.
air shooting. There's no there's none of that.
But I think in England you can air shoot with one hand or the other, but if it's both, then you're buying the drinks.
Yep, there you go. There you go. Crispin's like, oh man, I've got all my friends now. They're finished. You're gonna bait them into those conversations. Yeah, exactly. United
How was
States
that
out on the
arrow?
field to play. Casey Kaufhold, Brady Ellison in the mix. Casey Kaufhold, of course, #1 in the world. She got knocked out before the Sweet 16 yesterday. Brady Ellison still in the individual matches, but the #3 ranked team comes in, and they are getting introduced now. And then they're going to go up against what we've kind of talked about during the course of our coverage during these games is the Japanese team can be definitely a sleeper team, something that a lot of people don't talk about how good the Japanese teams can be. But hey, this is mixed team. It's Olympic recurve archery. It's set scoring system. Anything can happen. So, but Justin, you think that the team from the United States is really in top form right now?
Yeah, I think so. You know, watching Brady yesterday during the individual matches, you could just see it in his mannerisms. He's really locked in right now. And just right now, when they came out to the field before introductions, you usually stand to the line and you like do about face towards the away from the targets. And Brady was immediately just looking at the wind, I would believe, and looking at the venue. And you know, my experience shooting with him, he's just a master at picking up on all those cues going on. And so he did a little evaluation. I'm sure he's gonna come back and tell Casey what he saw, and that's what you like to see. You know, he's not worried about everything else. He just wants to get there and take care of business.
The one thing I will say about the team from the United States too is that although Kaufhold lives in Pennsylvania and Brady Ellison splits his time, mostly he's in Montana, splits his time though between Phoenix, is that they do get an opportunity because generally in the U.S. And when they shoot World Cups, they're the #1 qualifiers each. So they do have quite a bit of experience between themselves in these types of matches, in mixed team matches. Ellison's going to start us off with our first arrow. And out of the box, it's a 10.
That's how you want to start.
I can already hear Chris Webster yelling, "Yup."
Yeah, exactly. That is. There's a lot of strategy to the yups. Kaufhold outright, slight kind of in between the rings for the 9 and the 10 and the 9.
Team USA is always such a fun team as well. Like they'll always do things for us for World Archery. Chris, the coach there, he was, helping with a reel, and they're not afraid to have fun with it, which is great. It's great to see that Instagram stuff as well this week's been awesome.
So for those people maybe outside the United States that don't get to have never seen a TV show that got popular 7-8 years ago called Storage Wars. So in the States they have these storage facilities where, like, if you have too much stuff and your house isn't big enough, you go rent a storage unit and you put your stuff in the storage unit, right? It's just like an aluminum building with a garage door. For people that abandon their storage unit, they put them up for auction. So people will open the door, close the door, and then people bid on it. And one of the stars of this TV show, literally, when he was at auction, and they would say, "Who wants $1,000?" He would go, "Yup, yup." right? And so literally this guy on the TV show had hats made. Yup. That's where that whole thing started, right? The whole thing started, and Coach Chris, he'll do that. Yup. Nice and loud,
And has anyone
disruptive.
bought him that hat?
No, because the guy who, I'm not getting into that merch deal. But Japan now 3 nines in a row. The U.S. coming off of a 30, or they get into the first end or the first set with 38. So not enough points on the board for Japan to come back and even tie this first end of the match. But for Japan, still searching for the 10 ring, 3 nines. So the United States will go up 2-0, 38-36.
I think it's an interesting thing that the U.S. is on the left. Like they're shooting on the left target, and their arrows started off on the right. Japan is shooting on the right target, and their arrows started off on the left. So if we look at Lucy's plot, you see the red arrows are USA's arrows on the right, and Japan's majority of arrows are on the left. So is that a win that's coming in from both sides of the venue pushing towards the middle? Like, that's what I want. I'm not on the venue, so I can't tell, right? But it's an interesting thing that I just noticed on the first end.
On the replay that we just saw, Crispin, from our feed, you have some flags that are on the down edge of the grandstands, and then you have the flags that are on the very top of the grandstands going across. The flags that were coming down the edge, so if you were walking from the top to the bottom, were not moving, but literally the ones on the top were moving. So there's definitely some trickiness going on. And of course, we know that generally when we shoot archery in qualification rounds, we're in a big open field, you know, a football pitch or a soccer pitch, if you will, open. When you get to places like this that have some shielded areas, some open areas on the ends, crazy things can happen with wind. All right, second end.
Has a funneling effect.
Oh, yeah. The funneling effect and swirling as well is what we've heard.
As we begin the set, I just wanted to really pick up on this that Crispin was saying. Funnily enough, this is the 11th match we have today, and only once the team that was shooting on the right, that is on target number 2, won. So all other 10 matches, who was shooting on target 1 on the left won today. So pretty crazy.
And that happened the other day as well, didn't it? But majority, whoever was on target 1 kept winning.
I
for the
don't remember, but
team.
and now I feel like looking up all the other matches to see whether this trend continues.
You want to be on target 1.
It's almost like the Lancaster.
Can you request a target?
Pick what target?
Yeah.
You can request a target though, can't you? If you're the higher seeded team, isn't it your choice or no?
No, you request on whether you shoot first or second, but the targets are predetermined by the grid, basically. Whether or not the higher ranked team is always on the left is another question, because I know that there are situations where the higher ranked team is on the right. So I don't think it's going to be a stat where it's the highest team is always going to be on target 1. But USA has a 9 and an 8. Japan has 2 10s. So right now, target 2 is in the lead.
Well, they've just gone against everything we've just said.
I know they heard us, and they're like, well, we'll show you.
Commentators curse.
I think an 8 will lock this set for Japan. Or 10.
Lovely.
Justin, I'm curious, as watching these matches unfold, what are some of the thoughts that are going through your head in terms of just the overall experience that these archers are going through?
Well, you'd hope they're soaking it all in and enjoying the experience, but unfortunately, in my experience, I have to rely on a lot of the video to kind of give me some imagery, because a lot of it was just a quick fog for me. It just, all of a sudden we were done. So it's one of those things, you want to perform your best, but at the same time take opportunity to log in the memory bank there, what's going on. This doesn't happen. Oh, there's little Ty Ellison.
There's little Ty, and then to the next to him is Catalina G. Noriega, part of the U.S.
Yeah, that is great. And speaking of,
Ty
those
has
kind of
learned how
things,
to cheer "Go USA" in the last couple of days in a big way.
and that's the biggest thing Brady is going to take away from this. Even if Brady ends up winning a gold medal, just having his kids in the stand, especially Ty being old enough to probably remember this, is going to be just priceless.
So we say in
Interesting
Japan
for
that
the
was a
U.S.
40?
Yeah, for
Because that
40 for
arrow was so
Japan.
close.
Mm-hmm. The U.S. They're even though they hit a 10 in there, the shots were all low.
Hmm.
We're getting the trajectory stat 3.19 meters high in the air in order to lob it into the 10 ring. It is archery. It's archery. Arch.
But
Mm-hmm.
Japan contingent.
All right, so can Japan duplicate or can the United States come back? We're all tied up at 2 apiece. If you're joining us on YouTube, thanks so much. If you have a question or comment, you can see that they're rolling in. Get down in that comment section. If there's any questions you have, maybe you're new to archery and you want to test our panel and their knowledge, we have a lot of Olympic appearances and medals sitting right here in this panel. I'm Greg White.
Even
Bottom
Tony knows
left-hand
the
part of your
test.
screen is Justin Hewish. Crispin Duenas just above him. Luciel Sullivan and Bernardo Oliveira. Keeping our stats. Brady Ellison. I have to say, I do like Brady's bow. That U.S. flag bow is pretty sick.
I think they've done a special edition bow for their guys for the last 3 Olympics, I want to say. Don't quote me on it, but I have seen a lot of different American themed colored bows. I know in 2012 he got a gold bow painted for himself because that's what he was after. So it worked in the team round for sure.
Yeah, Brady had the gold bow, and the other 2 guys had red, white, and blue ones. So yeah, since 2012 they've been doing this kind of special edition.
And sneakers too, you got to coordinate. So red, white, and blue sneakers.
Well, I noticed that the women's recurve team all had arrows that were like one archer had all white, like knock and fletch. The one had all red, knock and fletch, and then blue, knock and fletch. So once you had the full women's team's arrows up on the target, it was just a flood of red, white, and blue.
America. Ooh, Brady, little high right, 9.
And he's looking up at the flags right after he came off the line. So he was evaluating the wind right after.
Of course, Casey won the test event here last year, so this should feel like home for her on this stadium. I mean, obviously it's bigger. They've made it bigger this year, but
the other thing too is and for Casey too, she was kind of a surprise Olympian for the last Olympics. So this is like her first Olympics where there was an expectation, being the number 1
8 or 9
seeded. I think it's a 9.
They're saying it's a 9 on the feed.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize she was a surprise Olympian last year.
The last time, I mean, she was so young. I think that a lot of people weren't really expecting. There was a lot of talk about her making this Olympics, but then she really exceeded expectations and performed. I believe the last Olympics she was, well, remember COVID delayed the Olympics, so she was, I think, 16. She would have been 16 for the first Olympics.
Wow.
And so that was, she does have some experience based off of that. If you go look at her Olympic results from, where it was versus what she's capable of now, there's been tremendous growth as an archer, as an athlete. Is there a world championship in traditional archery, like with English longbows or flat bows or shorter horse bows? Anybody have an answer to that, Bernardo?
On IFAA, I suppose. Is there? I don't know exactly. You guys know, Crispin, Justin?
I've seen trad at Vegas, but that's about it. I haven't seen a dedicated World Archery
Yeah.
type event.
So in
Yeah.
England now,
Lucy?
we have a lot of like traditional archers, barebow archers, and they do like the British champs. They're invited for like national tours, so they have like their own. So like the barebows will be at the national tour finals. Also in Turkey, we got invited to this competition in Istanbul, and it was they had all these different traditional bows, like Mongolian bows, Russian bows, English longbows, and they all dressed up in the costume as well. It was like amazing. It was, yeah, it's really cool. So I think that's probably like the biggest event that they've got. But apart from
for
that,
World
not
I remember
Archery,
earlier in the
which-
year that
Yeah, go ahead,
earlier in
Justin.
the year they had World 3D trials here in the U.S. and I called USA Archery to see if they had Olympic recurve in it, and they didn't. And I'm pretty sure they had barebow along with like a trad bow division for that particular tournament. So it might be a World Archery event after all.
Ooh, a little high for Japan. So 10-9 on a 4-2 lead for the United States. The wind is definitely a thing right now. Looks like it's kind of coming and
could see
going.
Brady's shirt and hair was moving.
Mm-hmm.
I
He
never
sends it a little
noticed
left 9.
that Brady kind of like puffs up his lips as he's shooting.
It's almost his cheeks. He almost
Never-
does a Frangilli thing where he'll puff up like I can't do it very well, but yeah.
And why is that important? I've also seen loads of archers this time. Like some have like a nose anchor, some have a lip anchor. Like which is better? I obviously recurve. I'm not a recurve archer. I'm a compound archer, but I would have thought that for recurve it's better to have it on your lip. But it seems popular to have it on your nose now. Can you guys help me with that?
So the one on the nose, the only thing I can figure out there is that the string angle and the length of your nose don't mesh up very well. So you want to just fatten it up just a bit to get a reference so that you can have contact with your nose with the string. It also provides another anchor point. But I've never personally shot with one, so I don't know the experience of it.
All right, 2 10s here, and it'll be a win for the United States. However,
No,
if they don't
110.
find a
110 and 19.
110s. Oh, yeah, for a tie. That's right, for a tie. Yep.
Yeah, so
There's the
Casey
first
needs
one.
a 9 to win.
So in the gold for the United States to win and advance.
There
Nine?
it is. Yeah, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yup.
Oh, her cheer always gets me. I love how she reacts.
Well, she's dedicated a lot of time to this and went full time. I know that she was accepted to Texas A&M University, and then when I guess when the decision was made that she was going to make a really good run for this Olympics, she just switched to full time archery, and that's all she does. So, lots of hard work on her part, being that she's only been a full time archer for a handful of years now. So, raw excitement.
And it was interesting
she
as well
went to-
that Brady went to calm her down.
Yeah.
You just had a few
So
months.
there's a lot of like sports psych stuff out there about recovering from bad shooting, but there's also the ability to recover from good shooting. So Casey just had like a really exciting thing happen, and so Brady's like, "That's great," and like, but we gotta like have your moment and everything, but now we gotta focus on the next job at hand because the next match is gonna be within like an hour, so we got to bring ourselves back in and center and do the job again.
Mm.
And that is interesting because you often do see in upsets in matches, someone that rises to the occasion takes out a more talented or archer that's supposed to have won that match, and then they follow up the next match with just a dismal performance, and you wonder why sometimes. And I never thought of that before. So interesting outlook there, Crispin.
Thank you. The quickest way you see it is after somebody shoots a 30. So an archer who gets onto the field shoots a 30, has a really good set, and then the next set, like immediately following that, is not anywhere close to a 30, right? So that's when you can see somebody who has practiced recovering from good shooting and not. Obviously, the compound archers in this call are not going to know what we're talking about because you guys shoot 30s all the time. But yeah, for a recurve archer, that's something we need to know how to recover from.
All right, let's talk about this question on the screen real quick. Do you guys look at wind speed measurement on the screen and compensate when shooting, or do you look at flags or wind? So basically, when you're in this particular situation, there is a wind indicator on a screen that's in front of the archer. So what would you do in this particular case, Justin? You first.
For me personally, I usually judge it by previous arrows that I've shot and what they were doing. So that's kind of how I base my aiming spot from there. And then usually it's right when I get to full draw, I'm feeling the wind with my body typically, and also taking a peripheral assessment right before I shoot the shot to pick my spot. I definitely don't use any kind of screens or the other archers or anything like that. I try to stick with what's personally happening to me.
Crispin?
Yeah, I would say that I'm less concerned about what the speed of the wind is and the screen telling me, because I want to feel the wind myself. I don't like to. I don't know where that wind meter is placed, so it could be on top of the stands, like 20 feet up, and that has nothing to do with what's going down on the ground. So I just go off of what I feel and what I can see between me and the target.
And Bernardo, your view on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also, this is when teamwork and knowing your teammate really comes into play, right? Is when you can feel the wind by your teammates' arrows, right? When you can, often today here we're seeing teammates talk a lot to each other. As soon as one gets off the line, they're talking to the other one who's just stepped into the line, kind of to give that feedback, so that both archers kind of shoot as one.
And hello from the Philippines as well. And I think I would add to that, really, just to kind of wrap that question up. I think the other bit too is you have a screen with wind direction or with wind speed so infrequently, and the amount of arrows that you throw down range, all you're practicing, you don't have it. And, oftentimes in qualifications, you're not going to have it. So I think you kind of want to go with what gets you there. All right. So Germany, Mexico has started in this quarterfinal to determine who's going to be in a position to win a medal. So the next round that we go to after this one, we're going to go into our semifinal matches. We know that we have India that's going to square off against Korea, and then the United States is waiting to find out who wins this match. And the winner of each one of those two matches is going to shoot for gold, and then the loser is going to go shoot for bronze. And I think that might have been part of the emotion that Casey Kaufhold was going through, is advancing into the possibility, or no matter what, you're advanced to shoot for a medal. So Germany starts off 10-9. Mexico is going to start off with the same score, 10-9.
I think I just saw Alejandra Valencia wearing a glove on her left hand. I didn't see that before. Or you might have seen it before, Bernardo. You're the stats guy.
No, it caught my attention yesterday when she shot her individual match. To be honest, I don't remember paying attention to that during the teams competition when she got bronze with her teammates. But that caught my attention yesterday as well. It's quite unusual to see someone wearing a glove on the bow hand.
Yeah, I've seen Koreans before wear a golf glove before, but yeah.
Yeah, it brings up a good point, though. When you look at sports that are can be more physically demanding sports, you look at your triathlon, you look at basketball, you look at the other sports that are going on right now, I think oftentimes it's overlooked with a 10 now from Mexico, is the fact that the intensity running up to these games and a lot of these countries having the trials leading up to these games, there are quite a few archers that are actually shooting these games injured, right? Like there's a little bit of injury. We saw Gabby Schlusser post, from the Netherlands that she's been having some elbow problems, and there are physical demands. Lucy, you're a trainer. We know stretching your neck is important, and pre-shooting exercises are important, but it really, the story of archery that people don't think about is that people are sore and they can be injured and they're shooting through it. Justin, have you been in a situation before, where you're heading into a large match, but you know that you're not 100% at peak physical condition?
I never had that experience when I was younger. I now experiencing it this second go around. Right now, I'm favoring a little wrist injury. Sometimes I have some tennis elbow. Sometimes I have shoulder stuff. I feel like I'm falling apart these days as I'm approaching 50. But back then, I never, archery injuries weren't really a thing. I think nowadays with the amount of arrows and the poundage and some of the different innovations in form and things like that have increasingly made injury a thing that's happening to these archers.
It's mainly
And
repetitive strain injuries though. Like it's just that repetitiveness of, generally you see it in the AC, the AC joint, the rotator cuffs, but yeah, tennis elbow kind of stuff, golfer's elbow. Yeah, it's just repetitive. These guys shoot like 400 arrows a day, so it's gonna happen.
yeah, especially at peak weights for Olympic recurve archery, some people, we were talking about it before. I mean, there's been rumors of peak weights of 60 pounds. Generally, for the men, you're talking about what, somewhere in the mid to, mid 50s, 52, 55. For the women, they can be shooting up to similar poundages, normally 48-ish range. So it just depends on a lot of factors. That's a lot. That's a lot of pulling weights, 400 times a day. I mean, it's definitely
Yeah.
going to wear and tear on you.
And you get unbalanced too, because now you've got like really developed muscles on just one side of the body, so that can also start to have a play. And not just muscle things, like bone structure starts to take effect if you do a lot of twisting in the shot. I've heard of archers developing a scoliosis in the spine from loading their mass weight of bow with like lots of mass weight, pulling lots of draw weight, and twisting while doing that entire motion. You can just eventually curve that spine.
And
So
bear in
Germany,
mind
who's up
they've
2 sets to 0, Germany's up 2
also,
sets to 0, just dropped the first 9 of this particular set. So it's now Mexico with 20 and Germany with 19. A couple good arrows here for Mexico, and we could tie this thing up. Oh, right, 8. Yeesh.
I was going to say that these archers as well, they're not just competing at the Olympics this year, they've also got all these World Cup stages as well. So, and they've had European champs, they've tried to get into the Olympics as well. There was those last spot chances. So they've had such a busy schedule this year, and then they go to the Olympics. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's the way it's been in the States. You have the World Cups, you also have the USA Archer, the USAT events. On top of that, you've had Olympic qualifiers. So not only is it the high volume of arrows for these competitors, normal practice, but you're talking about a high volume at a very high competitive level, which I would imagine would add some stress to the body as well, because we know that this sport
And also,
is
you're
probably
probably
what,
not even
90%
going
women?
home. Yeah,
That's right.
you
Yeah.
like some people like I remember pre-Tokyo, we had a last chance thing in Paris, and then directly from Paris we went and well, before that we had a training camp somewhere else. Then we went to Paris, and then we went to Turkey for a pre-Olympic training camp, and then we went to Tokyo. So, like, I believe there was a stint of me not being home for upwards of 2 months of just traveling and living out of a suitcase, right? So, it's like the people who are doing that, like, your lifestyle becomes almost repetitive, it becomes boring. A lot of times you're like, I'm tired from training, I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix and eat, right? And so, so it's like you have to force yourself to get out and do some physical activity. Otherwise, you just like become this sedentary traveling archery nomad, um, that eventually ends up at the Olympics. So yeah, and all that training definitely does take a toll on your body and your head.
Well, for someone like Justin, for instance, who is not currently on the U.S. team but trying to shoot his way to the U.S. team, if you have this intense and you're on the U.S. team, you have the I'll call it luxury of having a physio there that's also able to help you through some of these things. Where for you, Justin, you're literally get done shooting and then you get on an airplane and you got to fly home and you don't have a physiotherapist who's there working on your shoulder or working on your back or doing those things. So that also I would imagine puts you a little bit behind in terms of the people that are in the whole in the fold on the team.
Yeah, so once you're in the system and you're one of the top few archers, you have all those resources, obviously. For me, I rely on people around my area. I know some people that can work on me if I need to. Like right now, I'm rehabbing a little wrist injury, and at the tournament in Ohio, one of the archer's moms, who's a Pilates instructor, she was helping me out with trying to figure out how to alleviate that pain. So you just got to be resourceful. My biggest thing is just trying to get in the reps that these archers have, where they just wake up every day and just think about archery and how to get better at archery. When I run a business and do everything that life has, and then at night go, oh, let me shoot some archery and try to get in the reps and compete with these guys.
Mm.
Well, listen, before we get on to the next topic, as we continue on down this road, is now Germany has a 1 point advantage halfway through this set. Let's welcome Catalina G. Noriega to the mix. Catalina,
Hi.
how are you and how has your experience been at these games?
I'm good. It's been like truly amazing. Like the experience, like nothing I've ever experienced before. So I'm like really grateful to be able to be here.
So tell me a little bit about your performance and your expectation coming in here and where you ended up in the games and what are your thoughts as you exit these games?
Yeah, so for our first matches were the team rounds, and I think we were all expecting to do a little bit better, but we kind of struggled out there. So like after that, just like the mentality was like on individual and just like going out there and truly like giving everything I had and um like leaving it all out there. And I really feel like I did do that, and I'm happy with how I shot. Of course, I didn't make it through to the top 16, but the both my matches, like I felt like I shot really well. Of course, there's like areas for improvement, but overall, I'm happy. Like I was able to enjoy every second on that stage and learn a lot, and also take a lot of really good things away from it. Like there was a lot of good, and there's a lot of things that I learned and that I could improve on. But I think I'm like choosing to stick with the good, and I'm really happy overall, and this has been an amazing experience.
So Germany just won and now they're going to go up against USA in this mixed team. What do you think about that match coming up?
I think, I mean, whoever it is, I feel like the U.S. like we can take on whoever it is. It's definitely like everyone's shooting good. Everyone always shoots good. So, um, yeah, I think I don't know. Like I'm excited, and I think it'll be a good match.
So off the field of play, Catalina, I'm curious. I've seen a lot of social media posts. It looks like you guys have made the most of your experience, been to different places, and have you had a chance to really get the entire 2024 games experience with maybe watching other sports or meeting other athletes, that type thing?
Yeah, we've been trying to really like experience this to the max, especially because my other two teammates, even also Brady, like in Tokyo, the experience was really different. And I think knowing that, like coming into these games with like, oh, there's going to be a crowd, we're going to be free to do whatever we want, we're going to be able to experience and like actually talk and hang out or do all these other things with other athletes and the Team USA house and all these things. So I think like it just like we were just really trying to enjoy the experience to the max and make the most out of it because it only comes around every 4 years, and we want to have fun and we want to shoot well, and yeah.
Hey, before we let you go, what we're curious about is can you kind of break down what is going on in that stadium as it relates to wind? Is it swirling? Is it coming from one direction? Because we've seen like lane one, lane two is one is favored the other. So what have you noticed about what's going on in that shooting venue with the wind?
Yeah, I think because of the stands and the way the stadium is, like it's kind of like blocked in. A lot of the times, like I felt like we were observing, and we felt it like in our matches and stuff. The wind almost felt more strong on like on our body than it was actually moving the arrow. So it was just like a matter of like paying attention to what other, like people that were going up there and shoot was happening to the arrows. And like for me, like when I was up there, it was like a matter like of just paying attention, like see if I noticed like the wind shift a little bit, um, and like my opponent's arrows went to the right, then like I know like, oh, maybe the breeze is a little stronger this arrow, and just like trying to like use clues like that. But overall, I at least like the matches that I shot, the wind wasn't super bad. Like I never had to aim outside of the goal, like at 9.5 to the left or 9.5 to the right. So I don't know. I think it did look windy yesterday, so like I wasn't in the stadium, so I'm not sure, but I don't know. It just depends on the day, and I feel like it can be a little tricky.
All right, I'm curious. Last question before we let you go. There's still in the United States one more tournament to go this year. Are you done with archery for the season? Are you ready to take a break, or are you going to shoot the USA Archery National Championship coming up in a couple weeks?
Yeah, so we're all gonna shoot it. We kind of have to as part of like our selection procedure for next year. Um, yeah, I can't say like we're all like super excited to go shoot it, but I think like the focus is still there, and we're still all gonna go to nationals and do our best and get the season over with, and then after that we can like relax and take a break if we need one and such. But yeah, I can't say I'm like too excited to go.
Well, Catalina, thanks for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. And congratulations on your amazing experience. And obviously you won your first elimination match and just came up short in a shoot-off, but it looked like you had an amazing run at it. So congratulations, and I'm sure we'll see you soon down the road.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
All right. Catalina G. Noriega, part of the United States team here at the 2024 Games, and got a good experience, elimination matches, and of course the team rounds as well. And I meant to ask her about babysitting, Brady's kid, but we saw her a little bit earlier. All right, so let's talk about our matchups. We're going into the semifinals, and it's going to be India versus Korea. The winner of that is going to shoot for gold. The United States versus Germany. Again, the winner of that's going to be paired up with whoever won the first match, and then the loser is going to shoot for bronze. So obviously, 3 out of these 4 teams that are remaining are going to be standing on the podium with a medal around their necks, and one's going to be heartbroken, heading home. But panel, India versus Korea. India on the precipice of making history for these games. Justin, what do you think in this match of India going up against the juggernaut, Korea?
It's a tall task. I definitely think the Koreans had a little shaky start there in the last match, but got it dialed in towards the end, and I think they're just going to keep carrying that through. India is really going to have to win this match in order to get out of here, and it's definitely doable. It's going to be an exciting match to watch here, and can't wait to get this thing going.
And what about you, Crispin? What do you think for a prediction down the road as we're getting ready to shoot this thing?
I just need to point out that the 3 countries that I was predicting at the beginning of the show are actually in the semifinals.
I didn't nail mine, I don't think.
India versus Korea. This is going to be a bloodbath. I mean, a good match. So it's
wow, that was a pivot if I've ever heard one before.
Yeah, and it's amazing shooters versus amazing shooters. I'm excited to watch this match. Korea's very strong. India's always been really strong. Both have been out here shooting very good matches before, so this one is going to be an exciting one in my prediction.
Bernardo, what do the statistics tell us so far today about these 2 teams facing off with each other?
Oh, before I say anything about that, I just want to point out, because I wrote down your predictions, Greg, and you managed to
Oh,
get
you did?
everything
No,
wrong.
I don't
Your
think
3
so.
predictions have been eliminated. So whatever Greg bets in the future, you just bet the opposite.
Cheers. Lovely.
Cheers. Yes. Sorry about that,
Mm.
Greg. Yeah, but well, I just really wanted to point out that Germany, they had the best performance of any match we've seen so far today. So really, what we've just seen Germany do was the best we've ever seen today, including the morning session. But well, on pure average, Korea, they have an edge over India, but I really believe that if India manages to put some pressure on Korea, they can crack, and we'll see.
Yeah, it hasn't been a steamroller for Korea, not yet. I mean, obviously, against Chinese Taipei at the beginning of the day, they won in a shoot off. And then out of the box, they were down 2-0. Isn't that what you say in Europe? 2-0. So we'll see how this goes.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to say as well, they've shot against each other twice this year, both in semifinals and the World Cup stages, 1 and 3. Korea won both times, and in one of them it was exactly this pairing in terms of the India one, Diraj Bomadevra and Ankita Bakat. So far this year, 2-0 for Korea.
Ooh, out of the gate, 8 for Korea.
I was going to say they started off with a 34 in their last match against Italy.
Mm-hmm.
So if India can kind of, you have to take that chance on it, don't you?
I think the wind might be picking up because before his shot, Kim Woo-jin looked at both sides of the venue at the flags and then executed his shot. So I think something is picking up down there.
Yeah. 9
There's a
left.
bit- I know, like, so in Jersey, we're not far away from Paris, and it's really muggy here today. It's hot, it's muggy. I can't imagine what it's like in Paris, in the city. Like, I know all these different athletes are really struggling at the moment, like the triathletes, they were really struggling. And obviously with archery, they're out on this like hot pitch, this hot stadium all day. How obviously India, do you think India's maybe got an advantage there? Because I know that they're always shooting in the heat.
I think
What's
they
it
do.
like in Korea?
Yeah, I don't know about Korea, but I know India didn't India have some record-breaking temperatures a month or two ago, in the like 50 degrees Celsius region. Yeah,
Wow.
it was
Mm-hmm.
hot. So for the Americans, that's in the 120s ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right
So
now,
I
it's
think
saying in right now it's saying in Paris it's 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 28 degrees C, and with about 52% humidity. It's not outrageous, but of course, standing in the sun, I can tell you that, like from my experience in speaking with the Korean athletes, where the center is, it's got a massive variety. So in the wintertime, they're shooting in the snow. Like they actually shoot in a covered building and shoot out a window. Then they get their gear on and they walk out and they retrieve their arrows in the snow. But then in the summertime, it gets quite warm and it's high humidity as well. But for India, they're used to shooting in this temperatures. I think is really, the point. So, um,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it's
and
a good
India takes
match.
the first
India
set.
might win this one. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, but
And
again,
also
this
when
is
you're
the
under
opportunity
pressure,
you
you
have
feel
for
that
Korea.
heat.
Hmm.
I know that the style
Oh,
for
and
Barebow in the States is the bandage over the nose, but the Korean with the bandage over her chin might show a repetitive like rubbing of the chin with the string. Just looking at that right now, because you can see a lot of the Korean women have this like really defined string line on their chin. So it makes me wonder how hard they pull into their face. Also, I think we talked with Vanessa a few weeks ago, and it was like makeup rubbing off as well. But
Hmm.
it's a combination of both. But if it's sweaty and sticky, and you have that string constantly rubbing off your chin, I can imagine why that like the female Korean archer needs to wear a bandage right on her chin.
I just can't believe these guys are in full tracksuits with underlayer. Like, it's so hot over here. Like, well, for me, it's hot, 28 degrees. It's like, it's warm. But they're just, yeah, they've got 2 layers on. Crazy.
They usually really protect themselves from the sun, right? They're always wearing a lot of
Mhm.
clothes to make sure that they expose the least of their bodies to the sun.
Funny picture I saw of Kim Woo Jin in that whole like series of him shooting against the machine. He shot in a T-shirt for one of the videos, and I've never seen him shoot in a T-shirt before. But the tan was spectacular. Like you think this raccoon tan, Greg, is something to laugh at, but Kim Woo Jin is like pale white all the way down his arm until it reaches the wrist, and then he's just tan back of the hand because he's always in a long sleeve. But it's an interesting archery tan.
Well, Crispin, as you know, a cyclist tan is one of those weird tans too, right?
Oh yeah.
Especially on the legs, it goes from basically the top of the knees down to where the socks are, and then the rest of it is not tan. Oh yeah.
Oh, and there's also a defined tan line across the
Oh, right on the arm. Yeah, there you
fairness,
go.
right?
For typical cyclist.
So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
All right. So 10-10-9 for Korea, 8-9 for India. So with 10 here is going to go 2 set points apiece, with not enough points left for India to score.
I wonder if I just read that stat correctly on Kim Woo Jin. He walked up to the line. His heart rate was at 99. He did a big exhale, and his heart rate dropped to 74. I want to watch
Definitely
that on
could
his
be.
next shot. Like,
Mhm.
if can he actually lower his heart rate by 20 beats just by exhaling?
I mean, I just don't think that that's the case. It might be too, Crispin. And I mean, Lucy might know this too. Sometimes when you have a heart rate monitor on and you're walking, that thumping is going to actually give you just a slight false reading before you get there. Because I don't know anybody who can, in one breath, can drop their heart rate instantly 20 beats a minute.
But maybe this is why the Koreans are so good. Maybe they're doing the special meditation exhale stuff that we don't know about.
Advanced stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
How are they getting
I'm
this
pretty
heart
sure
rate monitor? Do they have these guys
it's
actually with a sensor on?
no, they're not
It's a
wearing a
camera.
sensor. It's like basically like a infrared camera that's pointed at the skin of the archer, and the camera is looking for slight changes in the I don't want to say pigmentation, but when your blood flows through, it changes the color of your skin very, very slightly. So it's sensitive enough to pick that up. But I think in Tokyo, when they first did it, it was, and I'm really not trying to sound like racist or anything at all, but it on darker colored skin, it wasn't as accurate as on lighter colored skin. Because I think that the lighter
Hmm.
colored skin can show blood flow a little bit better than darker colored skin. So I think my heart rate stats were not what my heart rate stats should have been because I'm pretty dark in the summer.
I mean, that actually
But
makes
it could have
sense. I mean,
improved
like
by now.
from my perspective, like my grandmother on my mom's side is Norwegian, and my grandfather on my mom's side is Italian, and you could see veins and the fair skin. You could see a lot more of the under of what's going on underneath the skin on my grandmother than you ever could on my grandfather, and so that's just accessibility, right? Like you can see it. I think it's very similar technology that you would find in like a watch. It's the infrared that pulses down to. I think that's a similar technology. Like if your watch measures your heart rate.
Yeah.
So 2-2 tie in the third set or third end, depending on how you want to say it. And Korea comes out of the gate with a 9. Now it's Kim Woo Jin. Boy, it almost looks like in the shot that we're seeing that the lighting may have changed a bit. I wonder if there's just a slight cloud cover or if it's
Looks
just
cloudy.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But it also could be like the iris setting of the cameras. But see, I can even see there. It looks like the light has changed slightly.
It's like a diffuse lighting.
All right, so why don't we have an opportunity to get Vanessa Lee in and joining us real quick. So we'll get her on. Hey, Vanessa, how's everything going? And we're just having a quick chat about did it get cloudy all of a sudden?
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for having me. I just ran out real quick to join you guys. There's like scattered clouds here. I don't know if you can see behind me. Really quite beautiful, but yeah, it's changing the lighting situation here. Korea, I think they just tied, right? 2-2 now.
2-2. Korea starts off 9-10. India has a 9-liner and a 9. So right now it's like 19-18, and
Yeah.
Korea's shooting.
Oof, it's as intense.
Ooh.
Like definitely, unfortunately, India's outnumbered in the crowd with the number of fans, but there's definitely Indian fans in the crowd trying to do their best, you know?
Hey, look,
And
you've
they
been there
are
all week.
loud.
Is this relatively a mild day, Vanessa, for shooting right now, or is it still feeling like ultra hot?
So the past 3 days have been so boiling hot. Today's at least a little bit of a break, but still like high 20s. Sorry, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit for all you Americans. But there's a little bit more of a breeze today. And sometimes you see at full draw an archer gets there and a breeze just blows through. So their draw or their holds are a little bit longer.
All right, so Korea,
Which just happened.
Vanessa just goes 9-10, 9-9, so 38. India just shot a 10. So right now, if a 10 is shot by India and they get a line call, they're going to go up 4-2. If not, we're all tied. Oh, no, went left 8. Went left 8. I'm sure there's a little bit of a delay of what you're hearing. So it looks like the set's going to go to Korea.
Sorry, here's a tidbit of information. So after their quarterfinals, Korea took their bows and went to the 5-meter range. And they just got back right before this. So their sights were a little bit off. I think they were just trying to adjust again. And oftentimes you see, if Korea's going to lose a set, they're probably going to lose the first one because they're just sighting in. And then after that, it's like a steamroller coming through. But that's what they just did after the last match.
And how has the energy been with the crowd that is there watching mixed team?
Really good. I mean, it's pretty much full. Unfortunately, France lost, right? So there was a bit of steam or a little bit of a wind taken out of everyone's sails. Without a doubt, it would have been just as electric if France got through to the finals against Korea, just like they did for the men's. But I mean, the Korean fans, the Mexican fans were all, I don't know what else to say other than on fleek. Does anybody say that anymore?
No, nobody said that for at least 8 years.
Someone says cooking. They're cooking. That's what I learned from Emily Armstrong. They're cooking.
Yeah, they're cooking. They're cooking. That's definitely cooking. Yeah, definitely. All right. Anything we should look out for in this next match coming up, U.S. versus Germany? Anything that stands out in your mind?
So Germany's really surprising us, right? They just beat Mexico. Who's Germany up against before that? Was it
Colombia.
I can't remember.
Colombia.
But
yeah, Colombia.
Colombia shoot off.
Sorry? Oh, Colombia. Yeah. So they're really surprising us. They're shooting really well, and I think if anyone has a chance to really surprise us until the end in the gold, it's going to be Germany. But on the U.S. side, my heart. You know, I love that girl Casey. She's my girl. And she was just so emotional after that win. I think all of this build-up, you know, with the women's team, then her individual loss yesterday or the day before, it's been a tough Olympics for her, and this is kind of her redemption.
All right, we're going to let you go as we watch the end of this match. It's Korea 4-2 for India as they line up for their fourth set. Thanks, Vanessa, for joining us, and we will hopefully see you one more time before the day's out at least. Yeah, get running. Get running.
Yeah, I want to go watch.
Bye. Bye. All right, so India in with a 9 straight away. The sacrifice, you know, because obviously she's got to go outside the stadium. So unfortunately for India, not the strongest start. They both start off with 9s. And again, the winner of this match going to shoot for gold, and the loser of this match goes and shoots for bronze. So Korea now, as Vanessa said, the first end, if they lose it, which they did, and then they start steamrolling, and the first arrow sent down is a 10.
It's a shame because in the last round, India had 3 10s, so that it wasn't a 9, it was a 10. But then just to get that 8 was that's kind of like that pivotal part, that pivotal moment in the match. And yeah, and starting with 2 9s versus 2 10s now is what can you do?
And look, Justin, I know that you're trying to stay in the moment and you're trying to just go through your shot process. But do you think that the idea that India hasn't had a medal or the pressure of the event, those types of things, they can creep in, can't they?
You would think not. I don't think it is. At this point in time, they're just so, into what they're doing right now, trying to shoot arrow by arrow, that all those thoughts aren't there. That's, they're fine.
Well, India finishes off with 10, but basically, if Korea keeps it in the gold here, let's just say 2 9s, which the first 9 hits, they're going to tie. That'll be a 5-2 victory, and they'll advance to the gold medal match, or shoot for
You're
gold in the
basically
games.
hoping someone messes up, aren't you? At this point, but they're
If
not
you're
going
India,
to.
you sure are. Not
Yeah,
10.
they were just not gonna.
Yeah, usually this guy doesn't mess up.
Yeah.
No, it's rare.
It's very rare, but he came through, and I actually saw him and the coach trying to shush the crowd while the female archer was at full draw. So the coach was holding his hand up just like this, and Kim was behind her doing this to the other side of the stadium. So people are clearly excited in there, just with the excitement that's going on the field.
Well, Crispin, Vanessa actually brought this up a couple days ago. There tends to be in the crowd a good mix of fans. Those fans that are archery intelligent, the people that know the flow and know the rhythm of the shooting, and then those people that have maybe it got a ticket for the first time, or it's part of a package ticket deal where you buy it and you get, oh yeah, I have swimming and archery or whatever. And so what Vanessa had told us was that as the day wears on, that those people that are not archery educated become, because they start to feel the rhythm and the flow of the crowd. But obviously, this particular day on a Friday in Paris during these games, and with obviously what Vanessa had said, that the French team got eliminated, the crowd's full. Could be just such a massive variety of people that they're not feeling the rhythm of when to be quiet. I mean,
Yeah.
Justin, did you mind shooting with people cheering? Did you need quiet? Do you need quiet when you're at full draw?
I prefer when the crowd's just really electric and loud, personally. When it goes from being loud to like super quiet, you definitely can notice it. And you just, that's the last thing you want to be doing when you're pulling full draw. And like I told you in our previous session at the Atlanta games, there was quite a few times when I was at full draw and I could just hear people, one particular person saying, "Come on, Justin." It just stuck out like a sore nail. And it definitely was noted, but you got to shoot your shot, and especially now with only 20 seconds. Back then I could have let down with the 40-second rule and pull back up if it really bothered me that much. But now you just got to go for it. So that's why the home crowd sometimes can be your benefit.
Okay, so the question we have is, I have an indoor tournament tomorrow and I have some problem with staying calm. Any tips? Look, we're all kind of looking at each other going like, well,
if you figure that out, let me know.
Raise your hand if you want to tackle it. Justin, go ahead.
If you figure that out, let me know, please. I'm still trying to figure this out after almost 40 years.
It's real simple. You just have to think about your shot process. You think about 10, and that's it. I don't know why people make it so complicated, myself included, but it sounds pretty straightforward when we talk about it, right?
Yeah, the solution is straightforward. That's the problem. Saying the solution, it's like saying, I'll never get a ticket if I don't speed, right? If I'm not exceeding the speed limit in my car, I'll never get a ticket. No problem. How can you do that? You know? What are you talking about?
Or it's like,
I,
don't think
limit's
I
just
about the
have to
pink
pray one, by
elephant.
the way.
Don't think about what, Lucy?
The pink elephant. Like,
Mhm.
what's the first thing that came to your head? A picture of a
elephant.
pink elephant. Right.
Because you said don't think about it. So if you tell yourself
Yeah.
not to do something, you're going to do it. So
Yeah. So I guess you should say stay calm.
well, I think
Don't
the
stay
archer
calm.
the
Or
No.
don't stay calm.
don't stay calm. Just stay calm. I think Bernardo says like what Bernardo said is absolutely correct. Like focusing on your form in the process is way better than focusing on the outcome. Greg, I think you and I have had a history of that at Lancaster when you were not shooting particularly the best, and then I gave you basically a riddle to try to figure out in your head, and then suddenly
Yep.
you started shooting like 33 after 33, and you didn't even notice you were shooting 33s because you were still trying to figure out this riddle. So I remember that one because like I was like, I got to take this man's mind off of his shooting and put it on something else, and that's exactly what happened, and that's what helped you out. So for this archer, if they can just like focus on something else, I think that'll be the best thing to do.
I need the riddle.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, not. We've said this before. Like, there's no real percentage, but we say 90% of archery is mental, and so if you can really figure out how to trick your brain into not overthinking and not worrying about it and just getting lost in the process, that's the way to go. So Germany starts off 9-10. A good start. And here's Brady Ellison. Archery's Leonardo DiCaprio. And he catches a 10 ring on the left. Throwback from Olympics past. As here in the States, it went ripping. A meme went ripping around last Olympics, like how much he looked like Leonardo DiCaprio. And I asked him about it. He's like, yeah,
another picture.
I don't mind. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you can. Koffeld with a 9. So tied up at the halfway point of this first one. Now Kroppen from Germany teamed up with Unruh.
It's interesting. She's got that nose anchor. Honestly, I haven't seen it until the last few years. It's become a new popular thing.
Yeah, it's a kind of a recent thing, I guess. Yeah, 4 years, I guess.
We need to come up with an archery invention that will something simple like that we can just make our millions.
I've had an idea for decades. Sorry,
Don't
Greg,
say it here. Someone's going to take it. Nobody in the audience has signed an NDA. Unless you can tell us. I mean, Crispin, I already had one for you. The greatest archery invention you can come up with is just a little handheld device that has all of your riddles. And so if you're shooting on the line and you find yourself out of sorts, just go ahead and hit play and give yourself one riddle per, and then boom, 36 is across the board.
I think mine is a little bit more tactile than that. I think it would be a fun one to have the Angry Archer's disposable arrows. So you have a set of arrows in your quiver, and whenever you shoot bad and you just need to take your frustration out, you pull out one of your Angry Archer's arrows and you crack it over your knee. And it doesn't have to be an expensive arrow, but it's just like a piece of dowel from Home Hardware or whatever, right? And you just crack it, throw it in the garbage, and you move on. And I think that'd be really funny just to see.
Can I build on that, Crispin?
People...
Because what I think you should do, remember growing up, we had pixie sticks. They're little, you break them open, you got a little bit of sugar dust in there. Why not just add something in the middle? You know what I mean? Maybe a little pixie dust in there. You get frustrated, you smash your arrow, and then you take a little bit of sugar hit. I'm just saying. U.S. goes up 2-0 in this match to determine who gets the gold medal match. So, as they say in tennis, add in U.S. currently. Bernardo's mom is back. Oh, outstanding.
Oh,
let's go.
Is it actually your mom?
There she is. And this time I didn't even have to send her the link of the live. She figured it all by herself. And
you didn't have to send her mom. Could you go ahead? I need a little bit of boost on the broadcast.
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Hello, mom. Good morning
Let's-
over there in Brazil.
Hey, watch this. I'm gonna go full like gaming streamer. Can we get a W in the chat? Can we get a W in the chat for Bernardo's mom, please? I just want to start spamming W in the chat.
You
Thanks,
need to
chat.
bring her
What
on
does
as a
that
guest.
mean?
What does that mean, Lucy?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Oh, high 8 for
What's a
Kropen on that one.
What's a
So
W in
W
the chat
means win,
mean?
obviously. So when you watch gamers who stream all the time, in between their games, they'll interact with their chat, which is basically the people that are in their comments. So if someone, let's say someone donates $50, to them, they'll be like, "Oh, let's get a W in the chat for Lucio," you know what I mean, or whatever. And so it's just how the your generation communicates online, young people.
Well, now I'm educated. I didn't know that. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah. It's a lot of hours of Call of Duty, pal. It's like Crispin's talking about. It's just a lot of hours in a hotel room. And after you've gotten to the end of Netflix, you got to find something else to watch. 10 for Brady. 18 points so far in the first half for Germany. Koffel now
That
at
wind
full
is picking
draw.
up.
Sends it. And a 10.
Nice.
Did you say the wind looked like it was picking up?
It did look like she was moving a little bit, and her hair was definitely going, but it didn't affect her. So good on her for that shot.
Michelle
I've
Kropen.
just received the riddle. I'm excited.
Oh, you got
Thank
the riddle.
You. Thank you so
No
much,
problem.
Crispin.
So Kropen, the 28-year-old, sends it in the 10 ring. So now to really, put the USA on notice in this set, a 10 here is going to be critical. Got
Nice.
And Florian is such an experienced archer that I was confident that if anybody could do it, he could do it.
Should we start calling him the pufferfish? I never realized
he
that
puffed
Brady
like
puffs his
4
lips.
times or something like that at full draw. That's so strange.
Yeah, why don't you call him that, Lucy, and the next time you see him, see how that goes.
No, I'm too scared.
Just saying.
He's only recently started
9
doing that
here
in the
for
last
Casey
couple
ties
seasons.
it. Oh, no, she dropped it
Oh, it's an
low. 8. Wow.
Justin, you said he's only recently started doing that? Was it?
Yeah, I've only seen him do it in the last couple seasons.
Yeah, it's a interesting thing to do. Have you tried it?
No.
Does it make you
I
shoot
make my
10s?
own facial expressions. I might have to try it when we get done with this broadcast. He's always done a little thing with his face, like he kind of moves his mouth around to get the string set in there. And that's something similar to what I do. But he's just recently done this little mouth movement thing.
We have an American compound archer who, when he draws and goes to full draw, his actual mouth is open. So you see the string pushing his lips and you see his teeth. Yeah.
There's a few
We're
people
getting
that do
lots
that.
of W's, by the way.
What? There's a lot of W's in the chat?
I've seen a bunch of W's going on in the chat.
W mom.
Bernardo, you're going to have to explain that to your mom. Yeah, afterwards you'll explain it to her.
Well, what's the Portuguese word for win?
Vitória.
So it should be
Like
a
victory.
V almost.
Yeah, and there she is, laughing, having a good time with all of this.
Okay, 2-2.
All right, so we're all tied up 2-2. This is to determine who gets to the gold medal match. And
So
Kropen
much
lines
pressure.
up for her first shot. Outright 8.
Kropen didn't look happy with that shot.
31-year-old Florian Unruh. Boom.
Nice shot.
No problem.
X.
This is what I was saying before. It's nice to know that you've got a guy next to you because generally you kind of expect a guy to get 10s, right? I know I'm not being sexist, but generally they'll get 10s.
But Brady just shot a 9.
um, generally, they'll get 10s. So if you feel like you've messed
So
up,
that
like
philosophy goes out the window. Yeah.
And in Florian's case, he's been shooting nothing but X's, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's solid right now. He knows what this feels like because he's been to multiple Olympics.
And he's
Just
so
off the
cool
10 line
usually
for-
under pressure.
He's very cool under pressure. Yeah. He also has a very interesting draw. He's one of the only archers, if not the only archer, who starts off with his bow arm bent and he pushes out with the bow arm and draws at the same time. So he's getting a tricep workout every time he shoots. So their arm is nice and bent here, and then he'll raise up and push out the front. Whereas a lot of archers start with a straight front arm to begin with and just draw straight back.
Just getting those gains, bruh.
I've
He
noticed
is.
that Michelle
Well, he's-
Cropin, she does something very similar.
Yeah,
They both do
maybe
that.
there's something to it. Yeah. Brady
All
has
right, so
4 puffs.
210.
1, 2, 3, 4. And then
The puffer fish. All right,
It's
so
working.
right here, Casey needs a 10 in order for the U.S. to go up 4-2. If she shoots a 9, they'll go 3-3. If she shoots anything under that, then Germany's going to go up 4 set points to 2.
4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds.
it's a 9.
Mm-hmm.
She was very close. There's 0 seconds left on the clock.
I have noticed, like, through these games that when we watch them, that the clock stops when the arrow impacts the target, or when I thought it was when the archer releases the shot. I wonder when they stop, because there's always a 1 or 2 second delay of when, like, basically we see the arrow impact, and then, like, they let another 1 or 2 drain off the clock.
Yeah,
It
we
should be
should
when they
have
release
a
the
judge
arrow.
here with us on the call to explain the rules. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, it should be when they release the arrow, because if they did it the other way and they wait for the arrow to hit, then a lot of these archers would have misses. You know, Penny Healy was shooting on 1 second almost every time during her match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mete is doing this all the time as well in these games.
All right, so 3-3. So the situation we're in is if one of these teams wins this next set outright, they're going to advance to the gold medal match. If we tie, if they split sets, we go 4-4, then what? Then we're going to a shoot-off, right?
Yep.
Exciting.
That'd be an exciting way to make your way into a gold medal match.
Heck yeah, I would.
For us, as the archers, that'd be super stressful.
Yeah.
A 10 for Kropin, so getting off the starter blocks perfectly.
That was a long shot,
Ooh.
but
Yeah, but he
Another
still
10.
gets the 10.
he's been nailing it today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Ooh, that is
Ooh.
uncharacteristic.
Oh, Brady.
His first
Lucy,
8
I'm
of
not
the
saying
day,
that's your
I
fault
believe.
or anything, Lucy. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm just saying.
Okay. Good.
Casey needs a 10 for her mental. No.
Oh, Casey's got an 8 as well.
Like literally in the same place.
Yeah.
No yups from the coach.
Are they on target?
What does he
one?
say when it's not a yup?
They are on target 1. He doesn't say anything, Lucy. He certainly doesn't
Just
say
stays
nope.
quiet. Nope.
Ooh, 8 or 9.
Hmm.
What are we saying, guys? 8 or a 9?
See what the
9?
TV says here.
Say 9?
Even if it is
I'd
a
guess
9,
it's a 9.
as long as
they're
he
calling it a
puts it in
9
the
on the
gold
TV.
here, yeah, it's out
Yeah.
of touch.
They're going. That was a quick shot.
10.
Oh,
X.
God,
Germany is
Wow.
going to the gold medal match.
Wait, Germany's
Germany going
like
to
completely
gold.
through?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
There's not enough points on the board. U.S. going to shoot for bronze.
heartbreaking.
Germany for gold. So it'll be Germany, Korea, and India, United States for bronze. And they'll be coming up first.
She has to get a 10 really just to feel confident for that bronze.
I think it's really important. I mean, I've known Casey long enough to
Fine.
see her expressions, and I think that she's struggling a little bit right now in the confidence department.
Oh,
But it's going to be like up to Brady and Coach Chris to get her up and going. I believe Casey's got the abilities to just turn this around and say, okay, we're done with this. New match is coming up now. Let's go for everything. And like as Catalina said, leave everything on the field. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's going to be a quick turnaround. And in the athletes, having been in a situation like this, it's a quick turnaround of like we're going to feel like it's a big long break, but the athletes are circling right back, getting ready back into the prep room. The thing to consider though is USA is coming right off the field, whereas India has already been sitting there watching and recovering. So it's even more important now for the US archers to get themselves back into game mode, basically, and come out with guns blazing for the bronze medal match.
yeah, there's like little holding areas, and they have like a TV so they can watch like what's going on
Yes.
on the actual stadium, you know, and yeah, and they can get their water and stuff. So yeah, Brady and Casey, I'm not even like they'll have enough time to have a drink, but I'm not sure if they'll have enough time to have a sit down.
If they did, it's
Yeah.
probably going to be like a 30-second sit down, if that, and then because they have to walk around the outside and then come back into the staging area and repeat the whole process.
Crazy.
In the first
But they
day
haven't
of
shot
team
it-
competition, we saw a 10-minute break in between these matches and the medal matches, but we didn't see it on Monday. What's up, Justin?
Yeah, they haven't shot enough arrows today to really need much of a rest. I think that would be kind of an advantage for the American team over India, who's just sitting there possibly cooling down a little bit.
You can definitely see both sides of the coin for this one. Like, do you want the cooldown? Do you want to just keep rolling with the reps, basically? Remembering that each of these archers shoots at least 200 arrows a day, at least, right? So at this point in the day, they might be approaching 100, 120 arrows, maybe, depending on how much they've been practicing. So I know that for any newer archers out there, when you go out and shoot and you think that I've shot like 60 arrows, I'm feeling like pretty tired. These archers are used to shooting like 72 arrows for warm up before the day even begins. So these guys are still going to be fresh no matter what. It's definitely the 90% mental game that a lot of these archers have to make sure that they are centered and just ready to go mentally, because the physical part, by this point, everybody in that stadium can handle the physical part. Every athlete, I should say.
But Bernardo, do you have any stats on like? So obviously we're coming into the bronze medal match. Do you have any stats on all these matches for today?
Yeah, absolutely. What I was just laughing with myself here is like we were talking about target 1 versus target 2, left and right side of the venue. And the only team to ever win in the target number 2 on the right side today is Germany. And they've done so 3 times already, which is pretty remarkable. This is really funny. And now we wonder whether they are going to keep this up going into the final with Korea, because it's going to be Korea on target 1 and Germany on target 2. But it's just really interesting to see. Like, I had the feeling that Florian Undru, he was by far the best man performing today, but actually not. Like, Kim Woo-jin is shooting better than him, better scores. And really what we saw in this match was the girls making the difference. And another thing that caught my attention was the very last set by Team USA was their worst in the whole day, and what a time to do so, right? In the very final set of a match, semi-final, everything on the line, 3-3 against Germany, and unfortunately, USA, they dropped the ball at the most important moment, and so bad. Now they're gonna find out, they're gonna have to fight against India to see who makes the last step of the podium.
It's not even like they shot badly though. Like they were still getting 37s, 30, started off with 39.
Yeah, but the
Like,
last one was 34. So yeah, 34 ties with the worst set scores we've had today. We had Colombia shoot 34. Korea surprisingly had a 34 as well, and the USA now. So it's definitely the bottom of the range of scores we've seen here today. And hoping you're gonna win or tie a set with a 34 is complicated.
Well, while we wait the first of our medal matches, India versus the United States for bronze, if you have any questions, any comments here, you're watching along with us and our Archery in Paris watch along. I'm your host, Greg White. Bottom left-hand part of your screen is Justin Hewish, two-time gold medalist. And you have Crispin Duenas, who's joining us right above him. 4 times he's been to the Olympics in his career. Lucy O'Sullivan is plotting arrows for us and giving us some good information, great questions as well. She's got 4 medals in her world archery career, but as a compound shooter. Different discipline, a bow, all right, all that, yeah. And then, of course, we have Bernardo Oliveira, who's keeping stats for us, been with us this whole time. Also an Olympian in his home country of Brazil, right? You were at the Olympics.
Yes.
And so we're just chatting about archery, folks. So, if you're just joining us and you're wondering where archery is, go check your local listing, because these matches are live and you're watching us here on Archery Plus or on YouTube, and we're really happy to have you along. And of course, the star of this whole show so far has definitely been Bernardo's mom, commenting on just giving us emoji after emoji on supporting her son on this broadcast, and W's in the chats across the board.
so much
We appreciate
love
you
for
being here with us. It's cool, man. It's cool. I do have to say though, I've been commentating for 27 years, 28 years, and I think my mom stopped watching my commentary about 15 years ago, and she actually tuned in last Sunday. And found, like you're saying, Bernardo, she actually found the link. She was like, what do I do? And I said, just go to YouTube and find World Archery and then click on the link. And she got it done. So and her comment to me was, and I'm not joking, it's nice to see you're still bald. And I was like, okay.
And why is that?
I'm not bald. I actually have a full head of hair. I just shave it. I've been shaving it for longer than I think most of you guys, well, not Justin, but most of you guys have been alive. So she still, to this day, I've been shaving my head since 1993. And to this day, she's still, and I'm going to see her in next week. It's her 80th birthday, my mom. And she will, I guarantee you, when are you going to grow your hair out? You have such beautiful hair. When are you going to grow it out? So,
Mama White wants your hair back.
Yeah.
Start with
For
a
how long
mohawk.
now?
Oh
had
my
one.
goodness. If we get enough
I had one.
comments, if we get enough comments for you to grow your
yes.
hair, will you grow your hair?
If there's enough comments in this section that want me to grow a mohawk, I'll grow a mohawk. Sure.
Hashtag hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag I got better things to do than comment about Greg's bald head,
Mohawk Greg.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, look, we're looking at our feet. I want to remind you the schedule. So we're in the middle of mixed team rounds right now. We're getting ready for our bronze medal match, and then following is going to be the gold medal match. But tomorrow, you definitely want to join us. We're going to be on much earlier tomorrow. Sorry, Justin, you're in California. It's going to be like early in the morning for you. But we're going to have the finals for the women's individual competition. And then archery at the 2024 games will wrap up on the 4th, on Sunday, with men's individual finals. So we're going to pick that up with, I can't remember. Bernardo, do you remember? Is it 8 athletes? Is that when we're going to pick? There'll be 8 athletes left, or 16? I think it's 8 athletes.
The watch party, we're going to be down to 8, quarterfinals onwards. In the morning, we have... I just read the comment.
Thanks, Johan. Thanks, Johan. I appreciate it.
I was just saying tomorrow, first
Hashtag
session
him.
with 16 athletes, and then the second session, the one that we have the watch party commentating on and everything, it's down to 8.
I have
Okay.
to take a photo. I'm sorry, guys. I'm
Oh,
taking
no.
Hashtag
photos
Mohawk
of this.
no.
Greg.
I'm
Oh,
going to send
no.
this to you, Greg.
How many do we
I leave
need?
Monday
the
to
world.
I leave Monday to travel to
many as we
Canada.
can get.
I'm actually going to be I'll be shooting the Canadian National Championships next week, and so maybe I'll start growing it there. So we'll see. Take pictures from the field.
Amazing.
At least it won't
Should be
affect my anchor.
hashtag ponytail is what we need to see.
Yeah, that's you.
Ooh.
Hat on backwards, ponytail. No way, Justin. You know how long it take me to grow a ponytail? Yeesh. Craziness. I will actually. I'll ask you this question, Bernardo. How do you normally shoot with a beard? Because I've had like a really thick beard, and when it comes to setting the sight left or right on an Excel site, my beard got so thick that when I shaved it off, it was 60 clicks. Like it affects the flight of the arrow so much just having that beard.
Wow.
And like a beard that you have in compound, if I just grew that beard overnight, I would probably have to adjust my sight left and right, probably 10 or 12 clicks to adjust
Wow.
for
Okay.
the
No,
arrow impact.
there were times when I shaved and I didn't really feel any difference. But this is something I wanted to ask Justin, because you grew like really long beard not long ago, and how was that with Recurve? Anchoring and all. I was really curious about that.
Yeah, no, you just kind of smash it in there. If I were to actually show you right where the anchor is, my hair was only maybe like a half inch long or a quarter inch just from the friction cutting off. I always had to like take the rest of the beard and kind of do like a comb over and cover it.
Oh, it's like you had a
But, I
bald
shot
spot
pretty
where the
good.
anchor point was? Is that what it was?
100%. Yeah, and
Oh,
so I was like
my.
kind of insecure about it. I was always kind of like covering over and like doing a little comb over. It's like a Fu
Wow, that's
Manchu
crazy.
kind of. But I shot well. I
Yeah,
shot
you'd
that
be at-
Legends match with Catalina, and I pulled it off.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty funny. You'd be at dinner probably, and you're covering the bald spot, and you're doing this with your beard, and people are thinking, "Uh-oh, does he want $1 million?" Like you look like you're plotting something. Should I have the
Yeah, I was
mozzarella
always
sticks
fussing
or
with
not?
it. I was always fussing with it, and sometimes I forget at home, and all of a sudden I look in the mirror and I have this big old kind of part, and it was fun. It was a fun experience for a year. I did it because of Coach Chris Webster, because we were at Vegas the following year in the previous year, 2022, and he always just sees me close shaven. And he's like, "When are you going to go through puberty?" And I go, "I got a thicker beard than you." And so from that day, I grew it all the way until the following Vegas, and then after Vegas, I cut it off. So it was just 1 year, and it was a pretty impressive beard. I liked it.
Okay, puberty.
listen,
you can
if you're-
square that off. Done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
If you're watching archery for the first time, one thing to take away from this conversation is if you're a competitive archer, there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot when you're at a tournament, just a lot of downtime. It's definitely different. Ooh, Larry Ross, do you think 3D will ever be suggested for an Olympic event? Ooh, I have my opinion on that one, but I'm gonna let the panel answer it first.
100 years from now, maybe.
It would be nice to see.
Well-
I just don't see them.
Lucy,
I
what
think
just
they'd have
happened?
to
Did
get
your house
compound
almost
into
fall
the
apart?
Olympics first.
Yeah, right. Compound in the Olympics first, and then we'll see what happens. Justin, do you
Yeah,
think 3D
yeah,
will
yeah.
ever get to the Olympics?
Do you not think
I
it would be
don't
3D
think so.
compound?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you want to see 3D
Well-
recurve?
Do Recurve shoot 3D?
I
Yeah,
have.
some people do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not
Look,
on
my
node,
opinion
though. I
is
suck
simply
at
this.
judging.
Oh, yeah, exactly. What is 3D archery? So 3D archery is basically life-size animal targets that have scoring rings on them, and they're made of foam. So currently, it's very much a sport that started and was created in the United States. There's a lot of hunters, and they were looking in I think it was the late 1970s, early 1980s. People were looking for a way to practice hunting, and so someone came up with the 3D target, And of course, the moment that you made a target, someone decided to make it a competition. So there is a series called the ASA, which is the largest 3D organization in the United States. They are branching out into Europe. But I think hunting is not so popular in Europe as it is in the United States from a cultural standpoint across the board. So I think 3D
Illegal.
archery, which is different. It's fun, it's exciting. You have different ring values and you can take a chance. So you have the middle ring is going to be a 10 ring and it's pretty big. You can say I want to shoot a 12, and when you get to the finals there's a 14 ring that's pretty small. So it's a different game. When we look at what we're looking at right now, Olympic recurve archery, if you're shooting a 72 arrow qualification round, you can look at it in a way that everybody starts with 720 points, and the moment you shoot a 9, that arrow, you've lost a point, right? It's almost like we count backwards. So in 3D archery, you earn points as opposed to give points away. So it's an interesting proposition. I think Bernardo's probably nailed it. It's probably going to be quite a while before we'd see that. But recurve people do shoot it. But I would say, just from being at the events that I've been at, you're probably looking at 99, 98% participation is probably, Crispin, you tell me, is probably on the compound side for 3D archery. Very, very.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know.
You'll see more bare bow and trad archers shooting 3D than you will Olympic shooters. So that's a pretty accurate stat.
Yeah, I think more funny. Recurve shooters would shoot field. Yeah.
Picking up on what Crispin has just said, what you two were saying, I guess it was Larry Ross that asked about whether 3D will ever be suggested to be in the Olympic program. And then I don't know whether he asked before what did he ask if there is for traditional bows world championships. And then I had looked up here that this year in September 30th starts in Slovenia the 3D World Archery World Championships in Mokric in Slovenia. And the divisions are compound, bare bow, longbow, and traditional bow. So there is this option for traditional shooters. Yeah, and then just linking to the most recent question about 3D archery.
So here we go. Athletes are on the field of play for the bronze medal match. India has taken the field, and we're going to be shooting relatively soon. If you're watching the feed that we get to watch, you'll see that there is a flag that sits on top of each of the targets. And one of the comments coming from the field that I've heard this week, I don't know if Bernardo, if you've heard this as well, was that some people were speculating that those flags were pretty thick, which means that the wind, it was hard for the wind to kind of push those flags around. And that was earlier on in the week. I don't know if they've ever made a change, but it'll give us a good indication. As we had Catalina G. Noriega from the United States give us kind of an indication of what the wind is like in the venue. And one of the things that she noticed when she was shooting, that the wind affected the archers more than they felt it affected the arrow flight. And one of those ways you can judge that is to feel the wind where you're standing and look 70 meters downrange and look at the way the flag is flying. So not really sure the situation, but beautiful, beautiful views from the archery location at the Games 2024 of Paris. So let's talk, panel. Does the United States rebound from what just happened with them getting knocked into the gold medal match, even though they were a favorite against Germany, slight favorite going to make the gold medal match? Or does India just continue to ride the wave that they've been on and get their first medal of the Games? Justin?
India has a huge... Yeah, Justin, go first.
Sorry, I had a little technical difficulties here. I didn't hear what you said. Repeat the question.
India or United States?
United States. I'm going against my bold prediction. Right now, I got to be biased, and I will try to be neutral, but I don't think so. I want to see Brady and Casey come out of Paris with the medal.
Fair enough. Crispin?
Yeah, I personally know Brady and Casey really well. I'd love to see them come out of here with a medal. It's going to be a tough match, though.
Definitely. Bernardo, you're up top now. What do you think?
I'll go for India. Historical first medal for them, and Dheeraj, really, he is a very exciting young talent on the scene, and would be awesome to see him with an Olympic medal.
All right, Lucy, you finish up your thoughts as Brady Ellison comes out with a 10.
I was going to say, like, India have a huge amount of like funding. They have so many archers in India now. Like, they have so much talent coming through. I mean, obviously from the compound side, like they have world champions for female and male. You know, and their recurve side is really strong as well. However, I would really like to see Brady and Casey do well. So yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, so far, India have got a 7, so
Yeah, a 7. Just
okay.
to kick it off.
I do love how both guys on both teams have their flags on their bows.
Mm-hmm. Like that too.
So Brady has the USA flag and Bombardier has the Indian flag. It's cool.
All right, so halfway through this first set, and it's a 2-point advantage for the United States after the open 7 for India. Brady Ellison up, launches it, 9. I think for Casey Koffel, the 10 here is going to pay dividends, not only in the score, but just in the rebuilding of the confidence on this finals field. Got it.
There it is.
Great shot. So not enough points left available for India to even tie this particular set. So the United States will go up 2 set points to 0 after this. Nice 10. That's the way you rebound, a 7 to a 10. Great shot.
Do you think the scores will be higher in this bronze medal match than the gold?
I think historically we've seen that that's usually the case.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Justin, go ahead.
No, that's fine. I just didn't know who was going to answer with the delay. So
I think they'll both be kind of comparable. I still think Korea is just going to knock it out of the park, just like they have been the last few years in the gold medal matches. Germany is going to have to really step up their game even more. Florian's going to have to not shoot anything out of the X. But, you know, it doesn't really matter what you shoot. You just got to have one set point, you know, get to that 5 set points before your other team, and you win the medal.
Bernardo, have you been keeping track of who's in what lane? Meaning, is this the first match that the U.S. has shot on lane 2? Haven't they shot their first 2 in lane 1?
Yeah, this is the first time US shoots on target 2.
Okay.
India have shot previously on both 1 and 2. Now they're back on 1. But as I said before, the crazy thing is the only team to ever win on target 2 today is Germany. And they've done so 3 times.
Wow. That's their target.
Yeah, Korea
So
will
we'll
be.
that.
We want to have a say on that.
Yeah.
I wanted to also
I was
say,
gonna say-
Lucy noticed that the bows for the men are flags, but both of the women on this field are left-handed.
Oh,
Don't know why.
Boys with flags, girls that are lefties.
Boy, that was a bobble just at the end of that shot cycle, and that goes 7.
Oh, she's not happy.
No.
Absolutely.
I did see the judge
gutting.
come over and talk to the U.S. archers just after the last set. So I'm wondering if he's giving them a little bit of a warning about the 1 meter line.
Okay, talk a little bit about that process. So as we see Brady shoot, then how does Casey know what's her time to shoot?
So Brady is going to shoot this arrow. He has to step back from the shooting line, and there's another line 1 meter behind the shooting line that he has to cross with ground contact. So as long as his feet touching the ground or past this 1 meter line, Casey can step up to the line and shoot her arrow, but she also must keep her arrow inside the quiver until both feet are straddling the shooting line. So 1 foot on either side of the shooting line. And then you can remove the arrow from your quiver. But if the incoming archer steps over the 1 meter line before the outgoing archer gets past the 1 meter line with ground contact, then you could get a yellow card, which means that you have to step back over the 1 meter line and then repeat the whole process again, which bleeds into your time because you only get 20 seconds per arrow. So it can be detrimental to the archers because now somebody might have to rush a shot or something like that. So that's why practicing the rotations for the team round is super important in high pressure situations like this.
All right, so the situation is 35 out of 40 for India, 18 on the board for the U.S. right now as Brady Ellison lines up to shoot his second shot of this second set, and he puts one right on
Nice.
top of his first arrow in the X ring. Great shot. So Brady giving words of encouragement and information to Casey Kaufhold. They'll go up 4-0 in this bronze medal match if she can put it in the gold. Ooh, just
Nine.
Yes.
grid shot. Just is it a
Awesome.
10?
Good
Lucy,
enough.
what are you gonna do?
I
Yeah,
think
good
it's a
enough.
9.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll see.
Yeah.
If it's upgraded to a 10, then the Mohawk thing's off.
4 more arrows.
I don't know, Justin, it does feel to me that maybe the pressure of this moment has maybe gotten to the team from India just slightly. What are your views?
I mean, it's definitely obvious. They weren't shooting sevens like this in the previous matches that we watched. A bronze medal is a big deal. And who likes to lose twice? That's the problem with getting 4th place. It's just
Yeah,
tough.
that's a good point, actually. It is a good point. Losing back to back and being
The
there.
only
That's
people.
it's one of the
Only
hardest
people on the
matches.
field.
When you're in the gold medal match, you're walking away with the silver regardless. Going for the bronze. Not only did you come off a tough loss in the semifinals, but now you got to like regroup and get it together. And this also could be something like we were talked about. They might have been sitting too long, where the Americans had a chance just to go back in, get a drink of water, get some electrolytes, and come back on the field, and they're ready to go.
So 4 set points to 0. The United States leads. A win here is going to guarantee, or is going to win them bronze. India fighting for their bronze and starting off straight away with a 10. And that's the pressure that India needs to put on the United States.
If I'm looking at the background of the venue, it is windy. The wind is picked up a lot.
Yeah, that's going to make the next match too even more interesting if the wind continues to grow during the course of these next couple of minutes, next half hour or so. Looking at Brady's hold there, Crispin, I mean, it looked like his bow wasn't moving. And I wonder
but
if
he's also got lots of mass
down.
weight on the bow.
Mm-hmm.
But it also looked like, if I saw the flags correctly, it looks like it's a headwind. So it's not. It's not necessarily a wind that'll blow you left, right. It's coming straight at you. So that one is like that. That can almost be a lottery sometimes of where it's going to make your arrow hit, almost. But just going off of what I can see on the feed.
And also, Brady is really, really strong. We watch him here in the States in some of our tournaments where they're super windy and we're all getting blown around like a seesaw, and he's just standing up there just solid. He's got a lot more strength than a lot of people realize.
He's also really great to work with as well. Like for World Archery stuff, like you'll ask him to do something fun for Instagram and he'll be like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. Like some people are really serious and they're like, no, not until after I finish shooting. But they're sort of up for doing anything really, which is really nice.
And for the amount of this is Brady's 5th games. And for someone who's been around the sport for so long and been on top of the sport, he still enjoys archery. As now, United States will hold a 4-2 advantage after Casey's arrow. There weren't enough points beginning, but Brady, not during Olympic years, but during other years, he'll take a break from it. I mean, he'll come and every now and then he showed up to Vegas with a compound bow, or he'll come shoot something called the NFA Indoor Nationals that we have in the U.S. NFA, the organization who puts on the huge Vegas tournament, and he'll put the recurve bow down, or he'll shoot the recurve bow, and the next day he'll pick up the compound. So he just still enjoys it, and he enjoys the challenge. And it's going to be interesting moving forward for Brady Ellison to see if what he's going to do games wise. Is this going to be it? I think he's going to try to go for his 6th. I mean, Justin, there is nobody out there that is of an age that wants to miss in the United States a U.S. game, especially in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to miss that one, but I really could see Brady going for 3, 4 more. I mean, he's going to have some longevity in this sport, and for the legacy, I don't see him stopping. I think it helps that your wife's a professional archer, so they're both kind of in the same mindset, and this is his living. He can't just retire early. He's got to keep signing those contracts. So I have a feeling he'll be around for a long time.
He was saying he wanted a team with his kids as well.
Oh my!
So you'll
Yeah,
just
the
have to
LeBron
wait for them to
James.
grow up.
When I talked to him in Tokyo. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was because in Tokyo, a lot of people were asking old guys like me and Brady, who are at our 4th Olympics, like, is there any sight of retiring? And at that time, he actually said that he wanted to try to get to 10 Olympics, and I was like,
Wow.
dude,
That's, dude.
Yeah.
You think
if
about
I'm
that?
still,
That's 40 years. That's 40-year span of Olympics, right? Like,
yeah.
That's
So
insane.
if I'm still able to stand vertical by the time the 10th Olympics from when I started to rolls around, I'm going to take that as a win. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to shoot a bow. So if he gets 10 Olympics, yeah.
How old was he with his first Olympics?
He would have been 22, I believe.
Wow. So we're in the 60s.
24.
He's 35 now. 35 now. So
I know he's in 1988. So he would have been, oh, no, Beijing, 20.
He's like 19.
He would have been 20.
So yeah, he'll be in his 60s on his 10th Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Doable?
Which is entirely possible, yeah. Like we had
Justin's
Yamamoto
nearly there. He's
and
trying to do it.
Yeah.
I'll be there quicker than I want to admit.
I mean, if Justin makes the Olympic team, as the U.S. now is going 10-9 for 19, India has just gone 8-9-8. So, but this bronze medal match, important arrow here. I mean, a 10 just to kind of put any type of pressure on the United States. But Justin, if you make the Olympic team, you'll be 53 at your Olympics.
I mean, Butch Johnson, I think, was around 53 on his last games.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible.
Right. Very doable. Very doable. Yeah.
All right. These are the 2 arrows right here. Come on, guys.
Boom. 9.
There's 1.
All you need to do is keep it in the gold.
Ooh,
So
my
just
heart's
watch
racing.
your Casey reaction here. Casey's reaction is going to be classic.
Heart is
It's going to
racing.
be amazing.
Pull through that clicker, sends it. Oh, and a 9 in the gold. There you go. Bronze for the United States of America.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Well, I guess you had a lot bottled inside there, huh? Must have been a lot of pressure. Oh my. Especially after yesterday, man.
That's so good to watch as well. I love watching her. Like, I love her reactions. So good.
All right, hold on. I gotta get the first text off. Should I?
Oh, it's nice to see the True Ball Axel guys in the stands there for USA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Well, Casey's parents as well.
Oh. Oh, it's so cute. What does it mean
Well,
to
that
win an
wasn't handed to
Olympic
him.
medal?
Hmm?
What does it mean to win an Olympic medal?
This is Justin's question.
Justin.
I'm sitting here in awe. I got chill bumps right now. I got tears welting up my eyes watching these guys. So, yeah, no, it's taking me back. I mean, I feel so proud and super happy for Brady and Casey. You know, to win this medal. You know, whether it's bronze or gold or silver, it's such an achievement to walk away with something. You know, it's too bad here in the States we put too much emphasis on the gold medal always, and you know, winning this bronze is huge for us. It's huge. I'm just so proud of them.
Yeah. Casey and Brady partnership has been really good. But Justin, your isn't your story of when you actually won your gold medal? You hadn't been archery like in archery your entire life. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and your journey as you get to 1996?
Yeah, my story started. I'm a typical California kid that loved to skateboard, and I tried surfing, but never really took to it. And my father, you know, a lot of kids that get in archery, sometimes it's your parents or maybe Boy Scouts or going to a camp that you get involved with. And in my case, it was my dad, and there was an archery shop in our town that closed down, and he went down there just to try to buy the old foam backboard to make his own targets here at the house. And when he went down there, the shop was closed and it had all the old inventory and stuff in there. And for whatever reason, he went from buying the old foam to like opening the archery shop. And I'm an only child, and I didn't really know better at the time that once they opened the shop, I didn't really have to go there. They would have figured out leave me at home or go to grandma's house or something. But I just was a loyal son to them, so I just started working at the archery shop, cheap child labor, and things like that. And they opened up in May of 1989, and I worked there for like, you know, 2 or 3 months when Lloyd Brown started coming by doing coaching on Thursday nights for some of the Joad shooters at our shop, and he's the one that was trying to get me to shoot, but I just wasn't into it that much. And you know, late '89 around November, they just kept badgering me so much. I was like, fine. So we went over to the counter. I pulled out the best bow and arrows you can buy. I started shooting immediately with a clicker, and my first tournament season was 1990. And once I found out that it was an easy way to get out of school and travel the country, I got hooked, and just ended up just, you know, being around the right people, the right coaches at the right time, and just slowly started getting better. Well, actually, fast got better, you know, within a couple of years, and went to Arizona State, you know, when they were a juggernaut and under Sherry Rose's tutelage, and then they canceled the program, so I came back home in '95, and the Olympic Training Center opened up in Chula Vista, so I applied there and got to shoot with Rod and Butch, and they sucked me into their vortex, and all of a sudden I made the team. So I did have kind of a crazy quick ride of 6.5 years from start to winning a gold. And you know, it's crazy actually when I look back on it. I don't know how I did it.
That's insane.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point too. It's a great story, and it's also to showcase like you don't have to be, you don't have to start shooting archery at 5 years old in order to be an athlete at this level. You pick it up any time you can, and if you have really a proclivity for it, and you have some good coaching, I think, and good habits early on, you can find yourself in a situation. Great story, Justin. Thanks for sharing that with us. So, how old were you then in like '89 when your dad bought the shop? 14?
I was 14 years old and
Mm,
started shooting my first arrows at 14. I turned 15 in January of 1990, and then I was 21 at the games.
incredible. Well, here we are, gold medal match, mixed team competition here at the Games 2024. This is archery in Paris. You're watching the watch along. As you're watching your feed, we're watching our feed, and we're just talking about archery and enjoying watching the best archers in the world compete at the highest level. Justin Hewish, 2-time gold medalist, sitting down bottom left part of your screen. Crispin Duenas, 4 times in the Olympics for Team Canada. Lucy O'Sullivan on top of your screen, plotting arrows for us, and medalist in her own right in world archery and compound archery. And of course, Bernardo Oliveira, our staple here, who keeps our stats and is an Olympian in his own right. What a panel we have watching this mixed team match for you. And we got 2 more days coming at you of competition for individual women tomorrow and individual men as we wrap up archery here in Paris 2024. But we have the monster that is Korea going up against Germany. And Germany, 5-3 win in the last match that they had to get into this gold medal match. And here we are, just a couple arrows away from getting our podium. Guaranteed silver in this match. It's who's going to reach out and grab the gold. We're going to kick things off with Korea. That is like the 3rd time in a row that she started off first arrow like 8, like left high 8.
But Vanessa said that they go and they practice on the practice range, and then they come here and their sights are different.
Yeah. Not for
So
Kim Woo-jin. X.
I think they might be okay.
Is that your big bold prediction, Lucy? Think they might be
Yeah.
okay?
I think they might be okay. Yep.
For Kroppen, outright 8. Unruh down in the 9 ring. So now halfway through this first set, it gives Korea a single point advantage.
There's a bee
Oh,
again.
there the bee
I
is.
love
Bee's
her.
back.
That's
Bee's back.
saw the bee flying
It's her
around.
bow.
Is that, you think
It
that's
didn't
it?
affect her.
No, not at all. It's a bot. The bee bot, AI, robot.
Is it a drone?
Yeah, drone. Wow,
Can you
right
imagine
out of the
if that
gate,
was a
Korea goes
camera?
up 2 set points to 0. Incredible.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting view if that was a camera, Lucy.
That'd be pretty silly. Especially if the bee could land on the arrow.
Yeah.
Go for a trip.
Just travel.
Wonder what the actual distance is that the arrow flies.
Like with the arc.
Yeah,
72
71
meters,
meters.
maybe.
Yeah. It's probably been on a graphic all day that we haven't been reading.
Yeah.
People in the comments are like, "Watch the graphic. We know how high it goes. The actual distance."
Oh, I want to throw something to the mix here. I guess maybe wind doesn't seem to be as strong as it was in the previous match with the US and India, but it's just funny to realize that, like, in the previous match, the men did not shoot outside of the yellow, so all the arrows that were dropped in the red were shot by the women. And it's the same here in this first set. So both Lim Shi-hyung and Michelle Kroppen, they shot 8s. And usually women, they have less mass weight on their bows, less poundage. So that can explain a little bit, like, they're more prone to be more affected by the wind. And I guess it's showing with these windy conditions here.
That's what I was saying.
And I'll add to that just a little bit because it can make a difference. If the draw length is shorter, then your arrow length is generally going to be shorter. And so even the weight of the arrow is going to be affected a little bit more by wind. And you'd be surprised what
right.
a grain or 2 or 10 here or there can do to arrow flight.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, like my draw length isn't 25. It's like 24 and some.
Oh my.
What's your guys'
mine's
draw length?
Mine's 32.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Like
No,
how
32
Twi-
yeah.
Mine's about 29 and a half. Not the
Oh
longest.
my goodness.
About the same as
24
Bernardo.
3/4.
Oh my gosh.
Crispin's about the same as Bernardo. Justin, yours
So I'm
is
saying,
probably what?
Lucy, you could probably buy.
I'm 28 and
Sorry.
3/4, 28 and a half, something like
Oh.
that.
Yeah, I could buy one set of arrows and cut it in half. Almost.
Exactly.
Wow.
Almost.
We
I
could
mean,
take
I struggle with
damaged
I
arrows
struggle
from
with the
friends and
spine.
just cut off the top.
and cut off the tops. Yeah, I wish she shot
That's
a
how I have
stiffer
my
spine arrow,
hairpins.
Lucy. Well, like the arrows that these competitors are shooting are the Easton X10. It seems to be kind of a very standard arrow now. You know, it's won so many medals and over the years. And on the compound side, I shoot a similar arrow, but what I struggle with is the actual spine, the stiffest spine that they offer in that arrow, and to cut it to the length that I need for the arrow rest, for the arrow to actually sit on the rest, is I never really have a perfectly spined arrow, perfectly tuned bow because of that. But that's on the compound side. So Korea goes 10-9. Now Germany sitting on 8-9, 2 points back at the halfway point of this second set for gold in these 2024 games. Kroppen starts off with a 9.
Germany has yet to shoot a 10.
Can't do that and win against the Koreans.
No. Jeez.
You can see the frustration on Unru's face as well, walking back from the line.
So we thinking Korea's going to win in straight sets? Ooh, maybe not.
Ooh.
Lucy,
Did I just
your
jinx
timing
that?
is impeccable.
I'm so sorry.
Impeccable. I'm glad this is on you now, because on Monday it was all on me, and there were things I wasn't even saying, and people were like, "You're thinking it," and then they would miss, and I'd be like, "No, I wasn't."
Oh,
Oh, Korea just
maybe not in straight sets.
just gets by,
Now they,
but it's a
Yeah, they
36
squeak by,
it's 4-0 now.
36, yeah.
but there was no time on the clock, wasn't there? Like he shot at 0, I think.
It was pretty close, and he was moving a bunch, so the wind looks like it has picked up now.
Yeah, those are those ones when you shoot a 9 and you're happy to shoot a 9. You know, when things are.
Yeah.
There's
one of the
there's
things,
a
if
video
you're
that I saw.
watching this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, if you're
there's a
watching this
video
in your
that I saw.
compound archer. God, we're talking over each other. It's perfect. If you're watching this in your compound archer, one of the things that you will see in Olympic recurve archers is a lot of times, especially the most successful ones, and I'm speaking more in qualification rounds when you have a longer shot clock to execute your 6 arrows, as we shoot in qualification rounds, is that you'll see a lot of recurve archers have a discipline to let down. And it's something I think that for some reason compound archers really struggle with. And I think part of the difficulty here, when you get to these final venues, especially with the pressure of the gold medal, that if you set your shot up and it's not right, that you just kind of have to commit to it. We have seen, I think, in the matches we've watched for the last 3 days, I think we've seen one letdown in any of these elimination matches before. So really, I just want you guys to kind of comment. Justin, why don't you start off about understanding that is something different that you have to deal with when you get to these elimination matches.
100%. It's until you've been on a finals venue, you don't understand what that 20 seconds or how little that 20 seconds really is. And that's why when you see someone let down, they pull back up and they only have a few seconds to get the shot off. Typically, it's not going to be that good of a shot anyways. They're just trying to get it down there. So sometimes they'll luckily get a 9 or a 10, but odds are you see it, out in the red or the blue oftentimes.
Yeah.
First
and Crispin, your
10
thoughts
for
as to what
Germany.
Justin just said?
Absolutely. You have to practice this timing, and then you also have to have a contingency plan on if you do let down within the 20 seconds, what is something that you have to do. Korea just shot an 8. So yeah, we've practiced some certain things of like how to get a shot off really quickly, how to reset your clicker while you're at full draw, that type of stuff. It becomes a little bit important.
Okay, so a couple cracks here in Korea as the coach is telling them to settle down. So Germany with an opportunity here. If they could shoot 2 10s, then they're going to get 2 set points back, because at this halfway point, Korea is down by a point. Oh, another one. Oh, heartbreaker. Mixed team gold medal match. Korea squaring off against Germany. Korea leads 4 set points to 0. An outright win here wins them gold, and Germany will take home the silver. What are you calling that one, Lucy? It looked like a 10 to me. Yeah, a little bit of a line.
I'm saying 10. Yeah.
All right.
Saying 10. He's done 8. I mean, okay, he's doing well, but you have to start with those 10s, right? Especially against Korea.
Mm-hmm. All right, so 9. So a 10 here, and it's gold
9
for Korea.
A 9.
Yeah, 9 will
A
do.
9, yeah, that's right, because they'll tie. Yep, good point. Go 5-1 for the
But
win.
he gets an X. Oh, a 10.
10.
There we go.
Same score.
That'll do.
And our fake crowd goes ballistic. Nice. Nice. Straight from my
Guess who
childhood.
won?
That sounded like almost like the from the video game Grand Prix back in the day. Exciting for
put this out
Korea,
there.
but yeah.
Casey's reaction was way better than both of those Koreans combined.
But to play to your point, Crispin, what I was going to say is it's a great result for Korea, but on the other hand, this is the expectation, isn't it? This is where we've come. It's like, okay, we've expected that we shoot at this level, we should win, and I think that's really the difference when you're clawing back, you know, and you're sitting there, and you guys had mentioned it before, you know, if you just come off of a loss for the bronze medal and you want to win, and that's the emotion of coming off of a loss. And here, if you look at it, for Germany, they get silver, but this is their first loss. You know, it's their first loss of the elimination matches in mixed teams. But, you know, for this team, all about them. So no big upsets here, kind of an expectation. But, you know, Justin, is this set the tone for what we're going to see over the next 2 days for individual matches from the Korean archers?
100%. You know, they are still chasing history. I don't know. Maybe Bernardo, someone can look up these stats on when was the last time all 6 of the Koreans were still in the top 16 and bracketed in a way that they could do a full Korean sweep on both sides. If that were to happen, it would be, you know, the best Olympic Games ever for them, obviously, but it would be something that not even, you know, uncharted territory for them. I'm hoping that's not the case. We still have a lot of good archery left, and I am predicting the Koreans sweeping the gold medals, but, you know, do an actual podium sweep would be insane.
Yeah.
Crispin, your thoughts?
I think it gives them a lot of confidence heading into the individual matches. There's nothing better than saying, hey, I've already been on this field. I've already won a couple gold medals on this field. Let's just do this. Like, what is it? Rinse, wash, repeat. I don't know. Just keep it going for the Koreans.
Pretty incredible. And Bernardo, what are your thoughts on the situation of mixed team going to Korea?
They were the team to be beat. Really, they are the benchmark. And I was thinking earlier today when I was watching the matches, it's interesting to see how teams they choose who shoots first, who shoots second. Some teams they have the woman shooting first. Some teams they have kind of a sandwich. For example, Turkey, they had Mete shooting the first arrow in the first rotation, shooting the second in a second, so kind of being the opener and the one who finishes it off. But I was just thinking to myself, like, when you have a mixed team, Lim Si-hyung, world record holder, Olympic record holder, and Kim Woo-jin, it's so easy, right? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna have Liam Shihyun shooting first, Kim Woo-jin shooting second. It's like it really doesn't matter because they are amazing. And well, this is a repeat of the World Championships final. Last year was in Berlin. It was Germany versus Korea. Germany, of course, wanted to win on home soil, and they lost to Korea. And now, once again, the Olympics. Really, it's every time at the Olympics, I feel we are thinking like, yeah, no, this time is going to be different. Other countries are going to, put up a fight and get gold medals from Korea, but they just seem to dig, just a little bit deeper, bring a little bit extra. And yeah, so far, 3 gold medals out of 3 for Korea. And it's not really a surprise, but the level of archery they display every time make us, just be in awe.
And Lucy, Justin Hewish has talked about basically the legend of archers or the teams and how much pressure it puts on other people shooting. Does the fact that we've only seen gold from Korea, is this going to put pressure, as we've seen comments down below, on these athletes moving forward as we get to our individual matches beginning tomorrow?
Do you know what? Before these games, like at every single World Cup, the cameras were in the Koreans' faces, and they were like, especially with the girls, they were like, you could win 10 in a row, and it didn't affect them. It was like there was no pressure. Like, I don't know how they've done that. If someone was like, you're gonna win, and filming everything I do, I'm not sure if I would win. But these girls and the guys, they're amazing, and obviously we expected them to win today, but the fact is they actually did it. They actually came out and won. And I don't know what they're doing. Like, they must be doing some mad meditation skills at home or something, because for the pressure to not even touch them, like, I think individually, yeah, these two here on our screen, they're the ones to watch, aren't they? Incredible.
Yeah, they certainly are. All right, let's welcome in Simon Fairweather into the broadcast. And Simon is there at the venue, and he got a bird's eye view of what happened with the crowd and how everybody was reacting to all this stuff. So let's see if we can get Simon. There he is. Simon, incredible win by Korea. But what's your point of view as to how everything went today? The crowd, the weather, the wind, all the stuff.
Well, I think we ended up having a wind coming from the left today, which was unusual. All week it's been coming from the right, so it switched around a bit, and it started to get a bit gusty. You probably saw that way the archers were shooting in those last few matches, starting to move things around. You add that to a bit of stress from obviously it being an Olympic finals, and you start to see some of those arrows popping out into the red, as we did.
Yeah. Now, listen, you're gold medalist at Sydney, and you've got a chance every now and then to be around this Justin Hewish kid that's down at the bottom of your screen. You got any good stories to share with us about you guys ever hanging out together at all, ever?
Justin, do you remember a tournament in the Czech Republic in 1999, I reckon? And one of my... yeah, that's right. And one of my teammates and some of the other reprobates bought some fireworks from the town nearby. Do you know where this is heading?
I always get fireworks when I was out of town. I did that in Moscow too. We were there for 4th of July and almost got thrown in jail for shooting fireworks on our 4th of July there.
Well, I think my teammate should have been thrown in jail. I remember he loaded one of those rockets into an arrow tube and launched it at you from our hotel balcony. And it was a bit of a near thing.
I know. The
Fortunately,
fun in
of course,
archery
his
is
aim was off,
gone.
as usual. Yeah. Actually, we didn't really get to hang out as often as we'd have liked. Our paths didn't cross as often as you might imagine. So I was sort of perhaps on the way out at that period as well. So what time we did get to hang out was pretty cool. But yeah, we didn't get to cross paths as often as we might have.
Yeah, well, Simon, since we
have anyway, how about
let's talk a little bit moving forward about the individual matches that are coming up, Simon. So obviously we've been talking just before you came on about the dominant, the Koreans are just crushing it right now. Do you see anything different coming up for tomorrow for the women's individual matches?
Look, it'd be hard pressed to go past the Koreans as favourites. I mean, they showed just then in the final match. Then they're the ones who are really prepared. I mean, as much as got some mates today in the finals, the conditions were pretty tricky, and it just goes to show really that they really are well prepared. Mental management and great shooting form, but they shot some eight, so there's always the opportunity for someone else to sneak in as well. I was a little bit surprised maybe in the last match that Germany shot a few wide ones. Michelle Kroppen, obviously not on the ball as she has been all week. So, things can change from day to day. But pretty much everybody was shooting about the standards that you would expect from them as a country, which is to say, pretty good, a little bit of inconsistency here and there. Really, Korea was the one who managed to steamroll ahead as they usually do. So it would be a surprise for anyone else to get up over the Koreans for the win, but we know it can happen. And, well, only about it. Hindsight will be a great illustration, I guess, once we get to the end of the match.
Now, do you guys have more shows coming up over the next 2 days, morning shows, or what's going on with your schedule there?
Yeah. We've still got the podcast is still up. I think we have Virginie Chenier from Canada on tomorrow. She's confirmed, so that'll be a good show. And so both days we've still got the full podcast, so that'll be great.
She's going to be great. I actually got to shoot with her on the bail at Lancaster Archery Classic in the U.S. earlier this year. So she's a fun person to hang out with, and it should be a good broadcast. So make sure you check out
I'm
World
really
Archery's
looking
YouTube
forward to it
channel.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because I was speaking to Ron Vanderhoff, who's been working with them, and he's only got good things to say about how Virginia's been tracking this year, done some really good work. So that'll be fun.
Well, thanks again for joining us. Make sure everybody you check out their morning show on World Archery's YouTube channel. They're great inside information, and you'll definitely want to check that out before we come on air. So, Simon, thanks so much, man, and we will see you tomorrow.
Okay, guys. Talk to you then.
All right, later. All right, so that's going to do it for us for mixed team. Any final comments as we head out the door, looking ahead to tomorrow? Justin, what do you got?
Now we're getting into the part of the Olympics that I really enjoy, the individual, the two coveted medals. I'm really looking forward to the men's individual in particular, and curious to see if Kim Woo-jin will make history, getting the 3 gold medals at one Olympics, and pretty much put the nail in the coffin on who the best recurve archer in history is. Also to see if maybe Mete can pull off a back-to-back championship. And of course, we'd all like to see Brady get through and get that gold medal that he so much yearns for. So I'm really excited to see what happens, and I look forward to being on the broadcast with you guys.
And Crispin, you'll join us tomorrow as well, replacing Lucy, at least for the day, in terms of plotting arrows. But what do you look forward to tomorrow's matches?
Again, it's I'm looking for any underdogs that we didn't expect to come up, just shine. And I mean, a lot of the big names are through to the final round of 1/8. So there might not be as many surprises, but I'm still always interested to see who's going to bring a level of shooting that they hadn't had up into that match.
And Lucy, what about your predictions? We'll get to see you again on Sunday, but tomorrow you're off. So what do you think is going to happen in the women's elimination for gold medal?
I mean, anything can happen. I know this is really bad, but I'd love to see someone from the home country win on home turf. I think that would just make archery and the city of Paris go wild. But it's going to be a Korean win, isn't it? There's going to be some Korean wins over the next few days, a few more to come. But yeah, can you imagine if one of the French archers wins on home turf? That would be insane.
And Bernardo, looking to the future tomorrow, is going to be really mild. I mean, they're calling for highs of 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 26 degrees C with a cloud cover. So perhaps some even light going across the board for these archers. Do you see anything different other than Korean domination, or what are you hoping to see tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to see something different than Korean domination for sure. I'm with Lucy that like it would be awesome to see Lisa Babylon or Baptista Diz or Tomashiho win a medal, you know, in front of their home crowd. But I'm also with Justin and Crispin, like, you know, Brady winning gold would be awesome, or Kimujin Mete. There are so many interesting storylines, really. And just the mind-blowing thing that I saw World Archery talk about is that on Sunday we have Tomoshiro from France, Mete Gazas, the reigning Olympic champion, Marcos D'Almeida from Brazil, and Kim Woo-jin. Of these four, only one will make it to the semifinal. So this is going to be wild.
Well, you can continue watching the medals being handed out as the athletes are getting to the podium. But for us, we're all done. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have the addition of Mackenzie Brown from the United States. And Mackenzie, of course, was an Olympian herself. So we'll have her insight along with the rest of this panel as Lucy gets the day off. And tomorrow, though, make sure that you, when you're done watching this, get back to World Archery's YouTube channel and set a reminder, because we're going to be on at around 10:45 UTC time. So whatever time that is in your local area, make sure you tell all your friends about it. Thank you, everyone who made a comment, who hopefully enjoyed the conversation. I'm still on the fence about what I'm going to do with my mohawk, but maybe I'll let you know by weekend's end. But thank you so much, Lucy, Crispin, Justin, and Bernardo, for joining us. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow for women's individual. Who is going to walk away with the gold? See you then.
Bye.